Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I cannot believe that finally it's the day for the Ascension ScholarUP Global Conference 2025. So much has gone into this planning process, a lot of effort, so many people. So I'm just even going to begin by saying thank you. Thank you to the team, to the global ambassadors, to the volunteers, to the people who supported our fundraiser. So many things has gone into this process. It's something that I could not have done by myself. So as you come into the room, whether you are joining from LinkedIn or you're joining from Facebook or you're joining from YouTube, just let me know so I can shout out to you. Let me know so I can celebrate you. This is such an amazing day. It's a beautiful day, and I honestly give glory to God. So we have the first person in the room. We have Ianu Olua. She said he said we are here. Oh, I'm so happy to see you here. I'm bubbling with so much excitement. I need to calm myself down. I need to say, take it easy. Take it easy, take it easy. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, my end, PST time, but you can tell that the energy is high. I could not even sleep all through the night. I really could not sleep. I could not wait to ascend. And I kept telling myself, please hold on so you don't ascend too high, right? It's such an excitement, and thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, Fortune. Hello, Fortune. Where are you joining from? Let's play a little game. Let me know. Tell me where you are joining from. Sharif say he is here. We see you here. You're joining on LinkedIn. Let me know the location where you are joining from, not the platform. Sharif said he's joining on LinkedIn. Yes, please let me know the location where you're joining from. Foster, Dr. Foster, let's go. Yes, let's go, let's go, let's go. Thank you all for being so early. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. Bukola, thank you so much for joining. We are live. Yes, we are live indeed. Esther, thank you for being here. It's so exciting to see all of you. It's really, really so exciting that we've reached this point. Yesterday, I wanted to play a fun game with my community members, and I asked them, what does the Ascension mean to you personally, right? So you can still join our Mentimeter. You can enter a word. I think you can go to menti.com, enter the code, and you should be able to add your own words to say, what does the Ascension mean to you? Someone said growth, another person said bold, audacity, experience, ascending into wholeness, community, empowering, access. I think it's innovating. Someone said transformational. Another person said next level, eye-opener. Oh, I can't even read it all. These are all. So tell me in the chat as you come in, or you can join the Mentimeter, right? Let me know, what does the Ascension mean to you as a person? What does it mean to you? And I'm going to project this again. It's been a journey. It's been a long, long journey coming to this point. Well, before I get so carried away with my excitement, right? Let me take a moment to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about ScholarUP Mentoring Academy. How did we even get here, right? How did we even get to this point? In less than 2 years ago, ScholarUP did not exist anywhere in the world, right? So sometimes when people look at us like, you've been around for so long. No, we have not, right? My name is Dr. Amaka Ifeduba, and I'm the founder and lead coach of ScholarUP Mentoring Academy. And I'll just tell you a quick backstory of how we got to this point. How did we even reach this point where we are hosting a global event and inviting 29 speakers from 14 different countries, bringing them all together in a 2-day virtual event? That is bold. That is audacious. How did we even reach this point to be able to do this and to be able to pull it off? So ScholarUP started, for me, I showed up on LinkedIn for the first time last year. Sometime around March of last year was when I started posting on LinkedIn. And honestly, posting on LinkedIn was because I was a tired PhD student. I tell this story all the time. You've been to my live shows before. You probably heard me say it 1,000 times. I was just a tired PhD student. I was in my final year. I was so stressed from the whole stress of PhD, so many things going on, and I needed a creative outlet. I wanted to do something else that was not science and PhD. And if you're wondering, I'm a scientist, right? So what I'm doing seems to have some sort of separation. You look at it that, what are you doing with a PhD in horticulture? You're doing ScholarUP Mentoring Academy. But for me, I've always been passionate about people. And just being alone in the US, I never just knew how to do what I wanted to do, because of course, everybody is go. You're so busy going from one thing to the other, meeting one deadline or the other. If you are an African in diaspora, then you understand how it is when you just suddenly leave your country and you are in a new place where you're struggling to adapt, you're struggling to figure out a way to move forward. So I started posting on LinkedIn, and my postings was just all around sharing my journey. That was all I did. I just shared my journey, the journeys of a PhD student, my struggles, my lessons, my triumphs, my challenges. I showed up and I shared. Oh, I went to this conference. You see me, I share. Oh, I went to this conference. I learned this. I met this person. This was the difference he made. And that was what my content was about. There wasn't any plan, like there was no preconceived plan in my mind when I showed up on LinkedIn that I wanted to start ScholarUP. It wasn't something that I sat and scoped. It was just from all of those posting, loads of DMs started coming. People reached out to me with questions. People asked questions in my comment section. How did you do this? How did you get a fully funded scholarship in the US? How were you able to achieve this? And all of those questions kept coming. And every day I would type and reply and type and reply, and I'll reply to so many people. And then I was like, no, this is not possible. I wanted to post on LinkedIn for fun. Now this is stressing me out. This is like every day I'm getting 50, 100 DMs. I can't keep up with this. This is not sustainable. There's no way I can spend my time doing this. And I also do not want to ignore the people who were reaching out to me for help. Like that made me feel bad. So sometimes I feel anxiety because, I have all these messages that have not responded. So what am I going to do? Then that was from that pain point was how ScholarUP was born. Initially, our focus was around helping to guide aspiring graduate students to come to the US for graduate school. Because that was the question they were asking. I was already here in the US at the time as a PhD student. I knew everything I did to get here. I knew all the parts. I knew all the loopholes. I know what you can do to achieve the same result. Then I set up these mentoring sessions, brought them together in a group, hosted a lot of live webinars. So many of them got admitted into the US. But quickly, something became very clear to me. So many of the people I was mentoring, academic excellence was not the problem. Academic excellence was in no way the challenge that they had in any way. Like, they did not have any problem with academic excellence. So many of them were stellar students, first-class graduate students. So they had what it took in terms of the academics. But the challenge that I identified really quickly was that most of the people I was mentoring lacked confidence, they lacked the courage, they didn't know how to present themselves in the best light so that they could compete on the global stage. So that was just the big challenge. Someone gives me their CV and I'm like, is this the best way you can write about yourself? I read someone's statement of purpose and I'm wondering, this cannot be the best way you talk about yourself. You have so much more. And that was how our LinkedIn Elevation program, from that problem that I identified, I remember the first post I made about it, I had less than 3,000 followers at the time. I just said, I want my mentees to elevate their professional presence. And that was where the name was born. The LinkedIn Elevation program, 21 days professional development program that has gone on now. In fact, we are in the 17th cohort. The 17th cohort is graduating tomorrow. And we went on this journey. And what I did was I got certified as a coach because I always like doing things thoroughly. Even though I've been coaching people all my life, I just felt like if I was going to do this, I was going to get certified for it. I would not just wing it. And our LinkedIn Elevation program now has gone on to reach over 20 different countries in the world and has now even gone beyond aspiring graduate students to professionals in different fields, medical doctors, coaches, nurses. Think about it, different categories of people have been through our program just showing up to learn, how do I actually leverage the internet space for my career growth or for my business growth? How do I show up and not just show up for nothing? Because this is what I ask the people in my cohort all the time. Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to build a personal brand? We talk about personal branding every day. We throw around the word. Why do you want to do it? What's the point of it? If the point of building a personal brand is so that you make a post and somebody engages on the post and somebody likes the post and you have this dopamine boost, I just feel it's an exercise in futility. Now, these are some of the amazing professionals that have gone through our cohorts in these past 17 months that we have been on this journey, every month showing up, just teaching people, just telling them, hey, there's so much opportunities. You just have to have the willingness to move forward. And as we continued on this journey, you asked me, how did the Ascension come about from all of this? I've always been so big on community. So unlike so many other LinkedIn elevation program on LinkedIn where you just go through this process and then you're done and then you're out of it, I just felt like there should be so much more. We should be able to build a community. People should not just go through a 21 days program and then that's it. Maybe they don't even know how to move forward. And that was how our alumni community, I've always put it together, cohort to cohort. I say, when you graduate, you become an alumni. That way you still see other people. You grow in the midst of like-minded people so that you have the courage, you have the strength on the days when you don't feel like it. You have people who would encourage you. You have that accountability partner. You have accountability partners, not just even one of them, to guide you on that journey so that you don't give up on yourself. While in that process, on one of those days, I was having a chat with one of our alumni person, Dr. Ellen. You will meet her when she comes to an event. We're just talking because we actually built deep relationship where we would talk to each other on the phone and just talk about challenges, share ideas, and just talk about things. And then she said, don't you think you should have a smaller group? You have this large alumni community, several hundred people, but you could identify some people that you could team up with to do something together. And I thought it was a great idea. For me, I'm so good on I just need to hear a great idea. Executing it is not a problem. I was like, Dr. Ellen Sherris, shout out to you. Thank you so much for that suggestion. I was like, this is a great idea. Now let's put together a team. This team that we have put together has now become so many of the team that came together to do this are now our official advisory board members who were all themselves former alumni members of our LinkedIn Elevation program. Everybody from all over the place. Dr. Ellen in the UK, Dr. Vicky in Barbados, Dr. Josiah in Ghana, Dr. Sumeya in the US, Coach Tolu in Nigeria, Coach David in the UK, my Ibironke in Nigeria, MJ in Germany, so many places. Now we are all over the place, but now we can sit down and hold meetings. We can sit down and scope ideas and say, what can we do together? What beautiful impacts can we hold? Because I believe so strongly that we are stronger together and we can rise to any challenge with each other's help. It's been an amazing experience. And once we had scoped this and we say, hey, we want to call for volunteers, that was the most shocking for me because we just made a post and say, we've decided we want to do a conference. More than 300 people signed up to volunteer. That was like the first shocker in my life. Like more than 300 people are willing to volunteer for this conference. And then we came to managing the volunteers. There are so many of them. I was able to pull a few of the pictures. I'll be showing more of them in the event later. I had Emeka, who is a dear mentee of mine, who was coordinating the volunteers. He did such a fine job of it. And I was overseeing things, of course, but it wasn't really easy managing different teams, trying to get people to know what they were doing. And we also had Theophilus, who was working with the creative unit. Honestly, the creative unit of this conference, the people who volunteered for it, hats off to you. Because it was day after day, night after night of producing flyers, producing videos. I was so overwhelmed by their passion. I was humbled by it. I could not believe that young people would just commit to a cause and see it through. And for a period of 3 months, you're volunteering. So you're not even being paid financially. It's just your heart. You're just showing up to say, hey, I believe in this cause and I want to do it. And they showed up day after day, different units, committing their time, committing their energy, just to make sure that everything that we were doing came together. I'm so grateful. I could go on and on and on to talk about the lessons that I've learned on this journey. I could go on and on to talk about the challenges that we faced. Of course, if you're doing something at scale like this, there are definitely challenges. We faced some of them, but together we were able to rise above those challenges. We were able to move forward from those challenges. And we are here today. We are here and we are ready to ascend. It's so exciting. I'm going to play a quick video of ScholarUP to you before I will bring in our first speaker. I think I still have 5 minutes to wrap up my opening session. Thank you all so much. I see all the chats coming in. Dr. Ellen, it's so good to see you. Yes, we rise together. Thank you so much, Dr. Ellen, for being here. Right. And then Coach Tolu says, ideas run the world. Indeed, I agree with you. Absolutely, ideas run the world. It's all about having the right ideas. And when you have the ideas, then you need the courage. You need the willpower to actually bring the ideas to life. So it's not just about having the ideas, but you need to kind of have the audacity to move forward. So let's hear from some of the alumni of our LinkedIn Elevation program. They put together a quick video that I'm going to share, and then we are going to start the first session.
You believe it?
What have I signed myself up for?
I can't believe 3 weeks have flown by so fast.
Another milestone achieved by me. Congratulations. I'm so excited for myself.
Hi everyone.
Olufunmilayo here.
I'm
so excited. It's day 20 out of 21 in the cohort 14 Elevate Your Professional Presence with Dr. Amaka.
When I first heard about the Elevate Your Professional Presence by Dr. Amaka on LinkedIn, I thought it was going to be just another LinkedIn visibility challenge.
It was a transformative experience for me.
We were stretched, we learned, and we grew.
Right from mastering the art of content development to strategic engagement and positioning myself as a thought leader in my field, it has been a wonderful learning experience.
I can say that this program wasn't even about posting. It taught me accountability, discipline, showing up every single day.
This was a real coaching program.
This program can be a game changer for you if you're seeking to elevate your presence and position yourself better for opportunities on LinkedIn.
What I signed up for was just to be visible on LinkedIn. What I got was coaching, life coaching in growth, finding clarity, purpose, and how to keep doing better.
I wouldn't lie, the challenge stretched me. It pushed me way out of my comfort zone, and I definitely got to the point where my body and my mind were itching to go back to my comfort zone, but I pushed on regardless.
Thank you very much.
I'm very much grateful. I am really, really grateful.
Thank you, Dr. Amaka Ifeduba. Thank you to ScholarUP Mentoring Academy. I'm a proud alumni and I'm happy to be here.
Okay. Thank you so much to our wonderful alumni members who always go out of their way to promote our program. Honestly, in 17 months of running this program, I've not had to do a paid ad because the members of the community have become champions of the program themselves. And this has helped us to keep going. And it's been very humbling and very exciting to know that we can actually come together and we can truly rise to any challenge with each other's help. And with that, I'm going to, with a round of applause, with all the emojis in the world, let me clap for her first before I bring it to the stage. I'm going to be bringing to the stage to do the opening keynote, Mrs. Olufunmilayo Adedibu. She loves to be called Fumi. She is the Group General Counsel and Company Secretary of FCMB Group PLC, with over 33 years of experience in legal practice and banking. She's a seasoned governance leader, board member, a mentor, and she has shaped major M&A deals, strengthened corporate compliance. And the most important to us, the one I think is the most important to us, is that she champions youth development and the empowerment of the girl child. That is why, despite her busy schedule, she's supposed to travel. She has so much doing. She still made out the time to come and sit here, to come and share with us her journey. Mrs. Fumi, I'm so honored. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for making out the time. Thank you so much for committing the time to be here. I'm going to hand it over to you for your keynote.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amaka. When you were talking, I said to myself that there's no need to have any keynote again on leadership because you have taught practically everything. But again, we are here to share knowledge. We are here to rub off on one another. And I consider being on this platform this afternoon a very rare privilege to share my thoughts on the topic, Women, Power and Purpose, Redefining Leadership in a Changing World. I must say a very big thank you to Dr. Amaka. I first learned about Dr. Amaka through my childhood friend who has become my sister, Ibironke Semowo. And I know that whatever Ronke is up to, she's not a frivolous person. She doesn't have time for frivolities. And whatever she's up to, that thing must be very serious and must be worth the while. And she's always talking about this young woman doing great things, Dr. Amaka, Dr. Amaka. So I Googled Dr. Amaka one day, and wow, I was really wowed. And so, Dr. Amaka, thank you for all you are doing in this generation. Thank you for pulling others along to what's making greatness common. And so I do not take this opportunity for granted. I'm very grateful to be on this platform. So I think it will be in order for me to say good day to everyone joining the Ascension ScholarUP Global Conference 2025. Good day is very safe for me because we have people joining from different continents, from different countries, and different time zones. So I would not want to waste much of our time because we have a packed activities for the day one. But what I pray at the end of the day is this conference is not just going to be another conference. It's going to be a conference where the seeds of generational growth and leadership, a seed that will continue to seek to make leadership common, is planted, and we see these seeds outlive us. This is not just going to be a gathering of let us just come together, speak all the English, read all the keynote speeches, and just listen to people that can talk very well, say things. The theme of this conference, the Ascension, means a lot, especially for those of us on this side of the country where we're going through so much and we need to build leaders that will take us to the next generation, leaders that will take us out of this quagmire that we are in presently, leaders that we believe that we can really trust, leaders that we can follow, and leaders that can lead by example, not just by what I say. The people, leaders that would say, do as I do, ascending to that level, making a paradigm shift. So I want to believe that the next 2 days I will be spending on this conference will be such that will be beneficial, that would plant those eternal seeds that we'll be proud of when we look back and we will say that, oh, we were part of this Ascension conference, the ScholarUP Global Conference 2025. So without wasting time, let us go into my own little keynote speech, because like I said, Dr. Amaka said everything that needed to be said, but at the same time, I'll still share my thoughts on what I think this is about. So I've been asked to give a keynote speech this afternoon on the topic, Women, Power and Purpose, Redefining Leadership in a Changing World. Good day, visionaries, change makers, mentors, aspiring leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, once again, I must first honor the organizers of the ScholarUP Global Conference, the volunteers, the members of the board of trustees, those that work behind the scene to make this conference to come to being. I want to say a big thank you for extending this invitation to me. It was Jacinta Ardern, the former Prime Minister of New Jersey, who said, there are moments in history when the world pauses to listen not to the loudest voice in the room, but to the most purposeful one. And this is exactly what Dr. Amaka and the team are doing today. That is why we're here today. Today, to stand before you today amongst brilliant minds from more than 14 countries is a gift I do not take lightly. Thank you once again. Each one of us have traveled a different journey to be here, and I do not take your presence for granted. Today, we gather as leaders, not because the world is simple. As a matter of fact, the world is very, very complex. And because it is out of this complexity that we continue to forge ahead. We are living through one of the most dynamic periods in human history. Change is no longer gradual. It is continuous. As a matter of fact, it moves with such great speed. Shaped by technology. Some years back, it was the Y2K bug. Today now, it is the AI bug. The same change is shaped by global movements, the Japa syndrome in this part of the world. The same change, we see the shifting in cultures and new expectations. Leadership itself is being rewritten before our very eyes. And yet, in moments like this, the world does not simply need more titles. What the world needs now are good leaders. Men and women with clarity, with courage, with compassion, and with character. Leaders who understand people as much as they understand strategy. Leaders who guide others, not through perfection, but through presence. Who will be there no matter what, when they can look back and they'll be able to say, Dr. Amaka will be there to pull me along. At all times, that is what leadership is about. And for much of history, leadership was defined by power, who held resources, who sat in high places, and who commanded influence. But today's world is very different. Influence no longer flows from top down. It flows across network, across communities, across continents, and even across digital spaces. A young woman with a smartphone can mobilize millions for a cause. A startup founder working in a living room can disrupt the entire industry. A team spread across continents can build a shared vision in real time, just like what we are doing today through the ScholarUP Global Conference 2025. Dr. Amaka is in the US, there are people in the UK, some of us are in Nigeria here, and all we want to do is to make sure that we build good leadership. Leadership is no longer positional, it is personal. It is no longer about control, it is about connection. It is no longer about hierarchy, it is about humanity. True leadership begins not with a title, but with responsibility. The willingness to own your impact, whether you are leading a firm, a classroom, or a small team. And as the world evolves, we must evolve with it. So, what does it really mean to redefine leadership today? First, leadership is authenticity, not perfection. Gone are the days when we expect our leaders to have answer to every question that we raise. I recall years back, when I first became a team lead, I thought leadership meant making all the decisions and getting everything right. I soon realized that leadership is beyond titles or authority. It is about trust. You cannot lead people who do not trust you. Dr. Amaka was talking about how within 3 months, it was able, so many people signed up to help, so many people signed up to put this conference together. It is because they trust you. It is because they believe that you will do beyond expectation. It is because they know that the time they are given, that is worth more than dollars, more than naira, more than pounds, more than anything. It is because they've come to trust you, to know that you will do well with their own time. And so leadership is about trust. And we cannot overemphasize the issue of trust in leadership. You cannot lead people who do not trust you. Trust is earned through consistency, empathy, and follow through. Just lead, being sincere, and being your true self. Every leader has a choice, either to chase control or build confidence. One creates fear, and the other creates growth. Today's most effective leaders ask better questions. They stay self-aware. They remain very humble and are willing to learn publicly. Vulnerability, once seen as a weakness, has become a strength. Second, leadership is collaboration, not competition. The future belongs to those who build bridges. We must redefine success from individual accomplishment to collective impact. Third, leadership is about integrity, anchored in purpose. A leader without values is like a ship without a compass. Purpose is what steadies us when the winds of change blows fiercely. Let me share something with you from my own journey. I remember there was a time we were going to acquire another bank. And I've always thought that leadership is about, having everything figured out, like I said earlier on. I thought you, as a leader, you must be confident. Yes, confidence is very good. I thought you must always be composed. They must not see the same. You must not be seen to be fragile. You must not be seen to be vulnerable in any way. You must always be in control. But then it came a project that stripped away every assumption that I've held as a leader. I've always thought as a leader, you must just be seen, you must be in front, leading and leading and leading. Then came this assignment. We were acquiring another bank about 12, 13 years ago. And I was sent to that bank as part of the integration team. I was going to be part of the executive that will merge the new bank we're acquiring with the old bank. So what it meant was that some people were going to lose their jobs. People are going to be asked to go because we're going to have excess in terms of human capacity. So being part of this integration team, we were set very tight timelines and people's jobs were on the line. I remember one evening feeling very overwhelmed. Instead of pretending to be in control, I called the team together and I said, guys, I do not have all the answers, but I believe that together we can figure this out. Because some of the staff that were working with me on that team, they knew the staff in this bank that we just acquired better than I did. They understood the terrain better than I could. I told them sincerely, I need your help, so I don't make mistakes that will cost people their source of livelihood. I don't want a situation where at the end of the day, in doing the integration, the people that will add value to the old bank would have been asked to go. And I needed to just be sincere. And I called my team together. I said, guys, I need your help. That moment of honesty for me changed everything. Those that were a bit antagonistic towards the fact that we were coming to acquire the new bank, they became relaxed. They felt, oh, she's asking for help. Then she must be very sincere. Once I did that, ideas began to flow. Energy returned. We delivered beyond expectation. Some of the people that we took over 12, 13 years ago from that bank are still with us in my new bank. I've learned and that was how I learned one of the greatest lessons of my career, to say that as a leader, it is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to be sincere. It is okay to carry everyone along. Leadership is not about having power over people. It is about empowering people. The moment I told my guys that I need their help and they saw themselves being in the driver's seat, they were very happy and they went out of their ways to show me the reason why A must be retained and B must be left. We can ask the person to go. And we did this dispassionately. We did this with every sense of responsibility, so that we can say that 12, 13 years after that experience, we took the right decisions. I am not saying I here. I'm using the word we, because as a team, we worked together and we delivered beyond expectation. Leadership is about leading a team and working together and succeeding together. Over the years, I've learned that leadership rests on 3 anchors. The first is vision. Not just seeing ahead, but seeing within. It is the quiet work of clarifying what we stand for, even when the world is loud. The second is adaptability. The ability to remain rooted while still being willing to rise in a new direction. Leadership demands a willingness to change shape without losing substance. And the third is purpose. That steady reminder that leadership is not about speed, but about direction. Purpose protects us from drifting. It keeps our decisions aligned with who we are and who we serve. As women, why does this moment matter? Because the world is not merely changing, it is reawakening. Across sector, across continents, across generations, women are stepping into leadership in record numbers. Not because doors suddenly opened, but because women refuse to stop knocking. Truth is, when women step beyond the limits society has drawn for us, something powerful happens. Families strengthen, communities shift, economies rise, and nations transform. But here is the truth. Boundaries don't just disappear by wishful thinking. They shatter when we dare to confront them with courage, clarity, and conviction. At that moment of breaking, something shifts and a redefining moment happens. In my sector, for instance, which is banking today, we have about 9 women who are managing directors at the helms of affairs in their different banks. One of such women is the MD of my bank, First City Monument Bank Limited, who has taken the bank to greater heights than she took over the management of the bank, something that seemed impossible 10 years ago. In Nigeria alone, women-owned businesses provide employment for millions and contribute significantly to GDP. They continue to drive innovation in education, technology, finance, and community development. And yet, the challenges remain. Structural inequalities still exist, biases still exist, barriers still exist, but so does opportunities. There is never one path that leads to a market. Choose your own path. Just make sure you arrive at the market square in good time, because we are not going to leave anyone behind. And that was exactly what Dr. Amaka said when she started this, when she opened this conference, to say that even though she had achieved, she wanted many more people to achieve. She was willing to help. And there are different ways of helping. What just matters at the end of the day is none is going to be left behind. We're going to carry all of us together until we make greatness common. When one door closes, women build another, and they walk through them. As we step into this new era, let us lead with empathy in a world that is often harsh, with courage in moments that test our resolve, with wisdom in decisions that shape lives, and with convictions rooted in the quiet confidence of those who know where they come from. Leadership is not reserved for few. It is the responsibility of us all. Leadership isn't only found in speeches and policies, but in the small gestures that bridge generations. And leadership begins the moment you choose to show up with intention, with clarity, and with heart. Because when we redefine leadership, we do not just adapt to change, we become the change. Let me leave you with this. Leadership is not measured by headlines, but by the seeds we plant in others. Your kind acts of generosity, your helping hands, and the willingness to be the shoulder for someone else to stand upon. These acts should become a part of someone's story and legacy. Then we would have redefined leadership. Thank you so much for listening to me this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me clap for this. Wow, was that great or was that wonderful? Thank you very much. You said you dropped so many nuggets and I was just trying to catch all of them. And then I'm like, I'm so grateful this is recorded. So I can go back again and watch it again and again and again so I can listen to all the lessons that you've shared about leadership. You said, choose your own path to get to the market, but make sure you arrive there on time because we're not leaving anybody behind. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate you making the effort to come here today to share all the wonderful lessons that you have. Let me see what the people are saying in the chat. There's been a lot of chats popping in as you're coming. I was like, oh, wow. Divine said, we are leaving no one behind. Yeah, and someone says, thank you, ma. So many said, thank you. Zubedah from Uganda, she said, thank you. Chioma said, the session is profound already. Thank you so much. Olusegun says, wonderful session. Sharifat said, that's wonderful. Wow, lots and lots of comments. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing with us, for just not holding back and for being here to be a part of our conference. I'm going to move forward to the next person now. Let us give like all the love emojis, right? So I really love virtual events because now you're trying to communicate with the people in the chat, communicate with the people in the studio, but it's wonderful. And what we are trying to do with Ascension is to show that it is possible, that there could be a lot of learnings without borders, as you said. So people who are in Africa or anywhere should not be left behind because of the distance and all of those things. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go to the next keynote of the day. The next keynote of the day is from Mrs. Ibironke. We all know her. Mama Ibironke is one one of our men alumni at ScholarUP. She's a mindful parenting educator with 15 years plus of experience supporting parents and young children. As founder of the Parenting Lounge, she helps busy parents raise confident, thriving children through intentional and practical guidance. Her mission is to create transformative spaces where parents lead with presence, purpose, and peace. You are highly welcome to the stage, my Ibironke, as I love to call you. Please, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, can you confirm that I'm audible? I had to make last-minute changes to my setting. That's why I do not have the Ascension background. Pardon me for that, but I felt it's more important to be visible and audible right now. Thank you very much. So good morning, good afternoon, probably good evening to everyone who's joined us today from different parts of the world. I've been rightly introduced by Dr. Amaka Ifeduba. My name is Ibironke Semowo. I'm the founder of the Parents Lounge, a virtual community raising a village to support parents on their journey, and the lead tutor of Learn with Mrs. S, an online academic support class for young children. I am honored to be here today. Finally, the Ascension is happening. I'm a proud alumni of the ScholarUP Mentoring Academy, who became a member of the advisory board. Thank you very much for that honor, Dr. Amaka Ifeduba. When I saw the theme of this year's conference, this first conference, because there will be so many more of this, I was a bit tickled, because I knew that to so many people, this will mean shattering boundaries, breaking glass ceilings in your different careers, in your businesses, in your enterprises, reawakening brilliance in all those areas. But to me, it spoke to me differently. It spoke to me because I know that if there is somewhere that brilliance needs to be reawakened right now, it is in our homes and in our families. Right now, we need attention. We need a redirection back to that place. Because if we're trying to build the kind of nation that we want, we must start with our own micronations, our families. That is where the bulk of the work happens. On this platform today, I'm sure there are so many career professionals, top shot leaders, entrepreneurs over the world, emerging leaders, coaches, mentors, graduate students. We're all chasing dreams. We're all building careers. We're all creating impact in different parts of the world. But there is a world inside each of us that we need to start focusing on more. And that is our homes or our families, depending on how you want to put it. And today I am here to talk about something powerful. It's called the intentional family design. For too long, we've always assumed that family can run footloose and fancy free, that we can just play it by the air, take each day as it comes, and family will evolve. But what are we building in our homes? Who are the children that we're raising? What seeds are we planting through them for the next generation and generations to come? Are we making their heritage clear to them? Do they know the children of who they are? Do they have any sense of responsibility, accountability? What do they consider service as? All of these things are built through intentional family designs. They are not things that our children pick up from the air. They're things that are taught to them through habits, through designs, and through us being their models. So why does intentional family design matter now, you will ask? Our parents never talked about it. At least I never heard my parents discuss any template for raising their children or building their families. It is because parents today, now more than ever, are connecting less and less. We're doing more, but we're connecting less back home. Many homes may look functional on the outside, But on the inside, we're running on fumes, we're running on survival mode. And that is not the fault of parents today. It's not because parents do not care. It is because the modern world that we live in, that I like to refer to as the hustle culture, that modern world is pulling us in different directions. Children today are overstimulated by information. Parents are constantly living on the edge with the notifications from devices. Work and business is being carried from office to home, from enterprises to home. There are no clear divides anymore. Everything is intermingling because we're doing a lot. We're trying to achieve so much in so little time, yet we must not take our eyes off the ball. So the brilliance that we seek in society, that brilliance that we're here to talk about today, those boundaries that we want to shatter must first start with the habits that we're cultivating, with what we are modeling in our homes. The family, as we all know, is the smallest unit of society. And if we get it right there, we will get society right the way we want to. Resting today on intentional family design are three pillars, what I like to call the three pillars of intentional family design. Pillar one is clarity. Regardless of the size of your family, small or big, it starts with clarity. You need to define the vision for your home. In the same way you will not start a career, you will not start a business, you will not be a founder to an organization that does not have a vision. It's the same way your home must not start without a vision. We tend to think that the life we live in our careers and our businesses, in the impact, in our purpose outside of home should be totally different from who we are at home. But no, the two should work hand in hand. The same way you define goals for your business is the same way you define goals for your home. Make that vision known, agree on it, and have it written down. Any family in this day and age that is still working without a vision that is known to every member of the family is running on survival mode. Now, in defining the vision, you ask, what kind of atmosphere do I want to create? What do we want to be known for? What does this family want to be known for? Do we want to be known for integrity, honesty, hard work? Are we professionals? Is this family built on Christian ethos, Islamic ethos? You must define what vision you have for your family. Because if we do not define that vision, there is a tendency for us to continue in the line that we have been raised without assessing what has worked for us and what hasn't worked for us. It is what has worked for us that we carry on into the vision that we're designing for our new family. That's what the modern family looks like. In creating this clarity, there's something I call the family North Star. The family North Star is like your compass. It's a compass for the family. It's where you agree and put your values. Are you going to be known for respect, empathy, honesty, curiosity? Whatever values you want in your family, put it down in your family North Star. It is when you have this vision written down that you can then say, this is how we want to achieve this vision. Much like having a big goal in your organization and then breaking them down into smaller achievable tasks. That's the same thing that the family North Star does for you in designing your family vision. The second pillar is communication. Right now, it is a leadership skill everywhere, effective communication. You have to build a culture of understanding in your family. Your children are not too young, whether they're toddlers, they're not too old, whether they're adults. A culture of understanding helps a family stay together. You have less conflicts and less chaos. When we build our families on communication, we deal with less fire-quenching approaches or less fire-quenching issues that come up. In today's world, communication is the modern parent's superpower. You can write, you can read, you can articulate. Many of us grew up with communication styles that were built on command and control. The modern day parent does not have the time to stay controlling. So you use communication instead of control, because the children that we're raising for the future of our children, is not even now what we're living in now. We cannot even begin to project what the world will look like 20, 25 years from now. So we're raising children, we're raising families who will be able to live successfully and independently in that future world. We're moving away from the do it because I said so, or stop crying simply because I said so. We're moving into becoming mentors. We're moving into becoming caregivers for our children, moving into becoming counselors for our children. Because the modern children that the modern parent is raising today is growing up in a very different environment. Some people still like to argue that the old way is the best way. There is no best way. We're looking at what works and merging it with the new information that is available now. Our parents did the best that they could with the knowledge they had in the time that they had that knowledge. Now we have superior knowledge and we need to do better with the knowledge that we have. So intentional communication looks like pausing before you react. It is a superpower once again. Pausing before you react so that you can respond effectively. Asking your children questions that make them think instead of shutting them down. Having weekly family check-ins, whether your children are at home or they're outside of the home. Weekly family check-ins help families stay together. Listening to your child. Yes, they can be very trying when they want to talk, but listening to them without interrupting validates them, helps their confidence. Who doesn't want to raise a confident child who is a good communicator? And we need to model what we want to see. If you want children who are emotionally intelligent, some years ago, emotional intelligence wasn't on the list of skills required for leaders, but now it is high on that list. You want to make this known to your children. You want to model this to your children. Emotional intelligence is important because children are not just learning to do what we say, they're learning what they see us do. So please be conscious, modern parents, to model what you want to see with your children. And the third and final pillar is rhythm. There must be rhythm in your home. You must design a system that supports peace, communication, and connection in your home. A rhythm is a gentle structure that supports the home. You're not creating harsh rules. You're not making the home rigid. You're not saying it is either this way or the highway. There are very subtle things that you need to start building in your home, especially for parents with young children. Start with very little things. The morning rituals with your children, they begin to look forward to it because reading means predictability for children, and predictability means security for them. And a child who grows up in a secure environment is a confident and happy child. What do screen boundaries look like in your home? What do meal times look like in your home? What do the evenings look like? Are there any family routines by either parent that is attached to these times for your children that they can even think back on and carry on into their own families when they're all grown? These are the kind of things that creating rhythm does in a family. Everyone is knowledgeable about what is expected of them in the home per time. And this creates a sense of safety. And that safety becomes the foundation of brilliance in your children and in your home. Now, in all of this, you will notice that to achieve any of this, the greatest demand on a modern parent's time right now, on a modern parent right now, is the sacrifice of time. And that's something we have very little of now. But it's something that I always say that if it is important to you, you will create time for it. So what does the role of the modern parent look like right now? I'll summarize this briefly so that I do not exceed my timing. Parenting today requires just some major shifts. We'll look at it like this. We're shifting from managing to mentoring, like I had mentioned earlier. We're not raising children who are just going to say, yes, I have heard. We're raising children who would be critical thinkers, who can ask questions and bring about solutions. Secondly, we're shifting from perfection to presence. The goal here, the end goal of intentional family design is not to present ourselves as perfect parents, but parents who are willing to be present enough to hold their family by the hand and learn together as they grow together. So we're moving from perfection to presence. Your children don't need perfect parents, I always say. They just need you to be present in their lives. What that presence means may differ from family to family, but whatever you do in designing your family, please include this as one of the most important parts. And as modern parents, we're shifting from doing it all to doing what matters. Life comes in phases. Different phases demand different things from us, demand different attentions, demand different skills. So be graceful, be conscious of the phase that you're in and what it demands of you at that time. And then you give it to that phase of your life. Intentional family design helps parents focus on what truly strengthens connection in the home. We're not going to do everything. We're going to do what aligns with the phase of life that we're in at that time. And intentional families, they have lots of benefits, lots of benefits. You raise children in homes and they're more self-aware. You raise children who are emotionally intelligent, children who are resilient, children who are very good communicators. We see the part that communication is playing in today's world. They become better leaders. You raise better partners, meaning you are helping them grow better families in the future. And you send better leaders into society. If each and every one of us commits to raising children who will make society better because of how they were raised at home, then we can begin to ask for the kind of brilliance that we seek in society. So in closing, I will give 3 practical takeaways today. Identify your top 3 family values, create a 5-minute daily connection ritual, and introduce one rhythm in your family that reduces chaos. I'll take that again quickly before I leave the stage. Identify your top 3 family values, let them be known to your family, create a 5-minute daily ritual for connection in your homes, and introduce one rhythm that reduces chaos in the home. And you're on your way to an intentional family, regardless of how busy your career or your business is. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here once again. Remember that as we gather here at the Ascension, your world matters, and that world starts from your home. Thank you very much, Dr. Maka, for having me.
Let me just start by
Thank you.
giving you a round of applause. Thank you so much. That was so amazing. Let's see what the people are saying in the chat. Like you shared so much nuggets, and Catherine says, intentional family design means shifting from perfection to presence, shifting from monitoring to mentoring. We are shifting from doing it all to doing what's important. Thank you so much. Thank you for capturing that. Thank you. And then we have Sherifat said, your presence as a parent means a lot to your children. there is that confidence that my parents are there for me no matter what. I think that is very important. Thank you so much. There is a lot of chats, but I want us to be on time. We have a panel next. I only see one person in that panel. I don't know if it's network issues or something. I only see Iana, who is on that panel, which is supposed to be the Ed Tech panel. You are welcome on stage. My Ibironke, I don't know what to do. You will need to kind of work with this panel while we wait for the next panelists to come on board. I don't see Margarida, I don't see Augusta, I don't know what's happening, but I will keep looking, but we have to keep going. Like, we have to stay on topic, we have to stay on time, and we have to end. So I'll keep looking on the stage. At any time I see them, I'll pull them up, and then we kind of stay on topic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Iana, for coming on stage.
Thank you very much. Sorry, yes, Dr. Amaka, everyone present, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. And yes, indeed, it's an EdTech panel. We are mostly going to discuss, I guess, the learner-centered design. And I see Augusta is coming as well, so maybe she will be able to take over in a second.
Yes, I'll keep looking, and once I see her here, I'm going to bring her up. I don't know, the problem with the virtual network events is that, well, you hope the network is steady, you hope it's perfect, but we cannot let that derail us.
On the other hand, it also gives us a lot of opportunities, right? Because we can connect from all over the world and see each other and share ideas.
Yeah. So, okay, yes, let me defer to you.
Thank you very much. It's nice to have you here, Iana. I hope that Margarida will join us before the session runs out. But in her absence, I'm going to start with you on the innovation that is happening in education in terms of technology right now. You've been at the forefront of it, being a research professor at the Artificial Intelligence Research Institute. So, sorry, that's Margarida. I got that mixed up. You are the founder and head of learning at LXL Labs, and you have been at the forefront of innovations, technology in education at the moment. Education is moving from the regular classroom teaching, sit and learn, to innovative technologies. And we're here today to hear from you and learn more about how this works now and what we're looking forward to in future. So it's nice to have you here, Iana.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I'm delighted to be here, and hopefully I can share something interesting about these exciting developments. Definitely, it's something that is quietly and loudly transforming education at the moment, and we are all very excited, and I think we all feel some effects of it.
I'm excited too, considering that I've taken all my teaching online, and all the academic support that I offer children is done online. So I'm actually excited about your session. So I'm going to start about merging technology with people-centric learning. You built learning systems that reach hospitality teams across Southeast Asia through mobile, bilingual, and gamified training. So, Iana, what inspired you to merge technology with people-centric learning?
Thank you for this question. And I thought about it, and I think that what inspired me actually is learner-centered design. That is something that is the end goal. We want to create learning that is focused on the receiver and not our personal egos, because a lot of traditional programs are built in a way where teachers teach what they know or what they feel like teaching rather than what learners want to know or the way they want to learn, right? And that's why a lot of us have been a bit traumatized by traditional schooling, because it's not always fun. It's, especially in the past, it wasn't always built around kids or adults and how they learn. So I think that in this sense, learner-centered design is definitely something that is a step forward, because these days we put the learner in the center of the whole experience, and we consider learning as an experience. And then, of course, technology is one very good tool that can help us make this learning very learner-centered, because in the classroom where you have many children or adults, you don't always have the opportunity to adjust the learning based on each individual learner. Whereas technology allows you to make it more personalized, because you can create different learning paths for different levels and create some kind of customized assignments that will be only introduced based on the level of the learner. So from this standpoint, it's inspiring to see this transition from traditional learning design to learner-centered approach. And technology is a very useful tool to achieve these goals more efficiently.
Oh, thank you very much, Lena. I remember learning maths when I was in secondary school, what you probably call high school. It still remains the most traumatic experience of my schooling life because I knew that I could learn in a different way. But at that time, there was nothing like differentiated learning. There was nothing that technology could do for me to assist my learning styles. So what I hear now is that it's great to see how your work shows that technology does not replace the human element, it only amplifies it. This approach reminds us that when learning tools are built around real people, real environments, and real needs, technology is not a barrier. It's the most useful tool that we can have now. Every child can learn, every adult can learn. They just may need to be taught differently. Thank you for that, Iana. So I'm moving on to your experience in designing human engaging experiences for non-traditional learners. How do you design learning experiences that feel human and engaging, especially for non-traditional learners or frontline teams? Can you give us some background about that?
Yeah, definitely. So together with Alex Labs, we work with frontline teams. These are very busy adults. These are people who work in hospitality sector, people that work in customer service. And one big problem with designing for them is definitely the burnout, lack of time, and people are simply tired, and people cannot learn the same way as academia. People learn in academia, right? So you need to be very strategic about what you teach, and that comes from studying the context very much and designing learning for these specific groups. So we have to conduct a lot of interviews, we have to conduct a lot of surveying, we have to go on site, we have to observe what people actually need to know. Then we need to communicate this clearly to the people you are going to fill these gaps, because this is how we increase their motivation, right? People are willing to take an effort when they are feeling that they will bring them value. It's always possible to find the time, but not when it's just forced learning that the company wants you to do, but it's actually something meaningful to you and your career progression. So we often connect these to the personal goals, not only the company goals, but also personal goals. You can do this better and you will be able to achieve more X salary, or maybe transition to a different role if you know this, if you are fluent in this. And the third thing that we employ very often is learning scenarios. We try to build stories. All our learning is contextualized in real life stories from the people
Yes.
that we are showing, that we are teaching, right? Because when let's say some hypothetical waitress recognizes herself in these videos and her own struggles, or in this kind of learning paths, the interactive learning paths that we are building, she is more likely to relate to it, and it's a kind of way to teach learners to apply it in real life without actually being there and holding their hand and being with them on site, but through the technology, right? So we sort of simulate the environment. So to wrap up, there are many things, but context is important, learning is important, and we try to make it real for them. So that's how we try to increase engagement.
Thank you. So by centering the realities, the realities of your frontline teams, you've shown that technology can deliver with confidence, with connection, because when you connect with the adults that you're trying to teach in this frontline teams, when you make these things real to them, it's easier to learn because they can relate to it.
Yes, and also definitely this is the case. And we have also been traumatized by e-learning. It's not only that we have been traumatized by school in the past. All of us have experience with really bad, boring, poorly designed, poor UX, wrong content, e-learning too, right? And the goal is to not do that, because this is definitely going to kill people's motivation. So it's of course important to present only the information that people actually need, and they can, what is most important, they can practically use tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not just some high matters, not some kind of hypothetical or abstract ideas, but actually something that you can apply tomorrow.
Practical and straight to the point. So
Definitely.
Now I'm moving on. What has been the most surprising impact of using micro-learning and gamification on learner motivation and confidence, in your opinion, or in your experience?
So what is the very surprising thing is actually confidence. This is a strange metric that we did not really track. It was just a side metric that was not really very prominent, but we did see people self-report increased confidence, because our courses are mostly language skills and soft skills. So confidence is definitely very important for these two, right? Because these are people who are delivering customer service or guest experience. So of course confidence is I did not really expect confidence to be changed by the end of the course, because at the end of the day it's just a piece of e-learning. How can it increase confidence, right? But it does, and it is very surprising, and it's also very, very rewarding to know, even if it's maybe just a perception. Confidence is a perception. It's not a hard skill. It's something that you actually feel inside, and then you can translate it to the world, right? So that was cool. We really enjoyed it, and now we make sure we track it more carefully. We do a lot of more surveying around this, and it's interesting for us how it can develop in the future and how we can improve.
Thank you. I see that Margarida is on stage with us. Welcome, Margarida. It's nice to have you here. It's nice. And sorry we had to start without you, but we'll catch you up on where we're at. So Margarida Romero is here with us. She's a research professor at the Artificial Intelligence Research Institute in Barcelona. And we will also be discussing learning without boundaries with her, especially in this digital age. So Iana, I'm going to take some questions over to Margarida while I circle back to you. So welcome, Margarida. I'm going straight into your first question. You've spent your career exploring the creative use of technology and AI in education. How do you define learning without boundaries in this new digital age?
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I think learning is even more important now on the age of AI. And I think that there's a misconception to consider that because of AI, maybe we can delegate some tasks. Because of AI, now there's also knowledge that has been produced with errors, and sometimes even this is introducing information that is voluntary when involuntary false. Then, for example, imagine a kid that is creating a history image. Maybe in the image there are aspects that are false, but if the kid has not the history knowledge, he cannot identify these problems. Then, even more than before, in the age of AI, it's important to raise the standards of learning and support teachers in this approach towards these different technologies.
Thank you, Margarida. Thank you. Learning is no longer defined. It's no longer hampered by geographical boundaries or traditional roles anymore. Technology has expanded the classroom. It's more fluid. You can pick up a whole set of information for any career, any path online right now. And it's exciting to see how borderless learning is reshaping not just how we learn, but how we can imagine the possibilities around us. Thank you, Margarida. But in your research, how have you seen artificial intelligence enhance this time, not replace the human creativity and collaboration at the heart of education? Because a lot of people in my profession, teachers, here, we're still in that phase where we're thinking, is artificial intelligence going to replace our presence in the classrooms, whether online or physical classrooms?
It's a very important question, and it's an important fight we need to have as educators and families and everyone in the educational system. Is it, despite some AI systems and technologies to be very powerful in supporting, we need to fight that for learning to keep to be relational and to be human. Then it's super important that this is something that because the future is not breathing, the future is something we need to build together. It's important that everyone, and I think these kind of events are helping in this direction, everyone of us can develop a desirable future, something that we are hoping that will be for the better, and we fight for this future and for the learners to have still this human to human, if possible, even lowering the ratio and teachers having less students in the classroom and having the potential to be more close to the learners. And this is something that will not happen by default. By default, if we are not doing nothing, that will be that probably administrations will try to optimize. And optimizing is about, we have a new math tutoring system that is being very performant. Then why some hours of these teachers can be replaced by this tutoring system? But we need to fight for saying, yes, this tutoring system can help maybe for the homework or for other aspects, but how maybe we can reduce the ratio and having the same amount of teachers or even more teachers to do a more personalized and human help in the process. Then, but it's important we fight for that, and we not assume that the future is not something that is not in our hands. We need to build together what we want these technologies to be in the positive scenario.
Thank you very much. So teachers and educators, there you have it. The heart of education, we still need the human spark to lead the way, but we all have to join hands to build the kind of future that we want with technology. It's definitely going to make learning more fun. It's going to make learning achievable for practically every child who learns in a different way. But we still need the human spark to power this. Thank you, Margarida. Thank you. Margarida, what are the most promising ways that you can share with us that AI can personalize learning, but still foster curiosity, empathy, and social connection? Because our fear, the general fear, is that AI is going to reduce, it's going to make human connection, reduce it to the barest minimum across all sectors, not just in education right now. So what are the most promising ways that you can share with us that AI can personalize learning?
I think on the personalization aspect is about there's sometimes the analysis of prior knowledge that is difficult when the teacher needs to manage a classroom with 20, 30 kids, sometimes more depending on the context. It's important that we have this. Sorry. Because I'm in a library. Then the technology can help on identifying this prior knowledge and supporting the teachers on doing, for example, this prior assessment. But on the part of the emotional side, understanding what is the reality of this kid at the family level, and also motivations aspect. All these kinds of things is important that this is still the teacher. Then I think the most important aspect is about we need to help our teachers to embrace this technology, but then allow them to decide in which aspects they want to delegate technology to help them as teachers, and they keep in control of what is delegated and what is not delegated. But something that is worrying me, and we brought a manifesto with different colleagues in different countries, is about we don't want technologies that will replace teachers. We want technologies that are controlled by teachers.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So we're still going to ask for the involvement of educators to come together to decide how they want to use AI. What do they want to delegate? Are they delegating diversity, how to teach diverse children? Are you delegating the functions of homework? Different areas of specialization and needs can be delegated, but it cannot be done in isolation. We need our educators to get on board and work with technology, not to stay back and be replaced by technology. Thank you. I'm coming back to you, Iana, with another question for you. And I hope you're ready for me. As someone bridging the education and business terrain, how do you measure whether learning innovation truly translates into performance and culture change? In bridging business and education, how would you measure whether learning innovation truly translates into performance and culture change?
It's definitely a very important question, because when you make companies spend money on e-learning, they want to see the result. And of course, learners also need to see the result, but it's a bit easier on the learner side because they can feel it. When it comes to organizations and how we help them measure it, of course, there are different tools that we can incorporate to measure the result of any training. For example, the Kirkpatrick model is very common to measure different levels of training. But at the end of the day, e-learning alone or micro-learning, it's not going to help you achieve behavior change.
Yeah.
Sorry to say this, but this is just level 1, maximum level 2 of the model. Yes. You can deliver the knowledge through learning, right? Through e-learning. But ultimately, you need a system. And in this system, there should be a human factor. So we must have hybrid models of training. We must have some kind of people on site to deliver more impact, to communicate. So we build systems. That's how we ensure the impact. Just having the online product alone it's never going to be effective, because you still need a teacher. And I think that it's inspiring. A lot of people are worrying that technology will replace us, in all different fields.
Yes.
Absolutely not going to happen. I think that we will just use it as we're using computer, as we are using any other tool. We will learn to be more efficient. We will definitely get help with examples. We will be able to outsource somewhere where we cannot fully, because at the end of the day, there are more students than teachers. But no, it's not going to be like that. And I think that, of course, there will be people involved, and they will be the ones to help measure that impact on site and bring that change to the organizations.
Yes. So innovation is just going to change how people work, how we think and collaborate. But then in everyday behavior and team culture, we still need to rely on the attributes of the humans behind the use of the innovation. I get that, Iana. Thank you. So now we're moving to using technology for accessibility in resource-limited contexts. How can small organizations or educators in resource-limited contexts start using technology to make learning more accessible and inclusive? Now we're talking small organizations and small educators have limited resources. How can they start using technology to make learning more accessible?
So I mean, I may say something that is very basic, but I do believe that it all comes from right learning outcomes and what you want to achieve, because we see incredible creativity from the teachers who are driven by achieving their goals. And even in the context where resources are truly limited, they find ways to incorporate and teach. I think that what it could be, how technology can truly help with all of the AI and with all of the different chatbots that are now easily available if you have the internet connection and free for most part. I would suggest to use it to create those learning outcomes and explore what needs to be learned, to analyze your learners in depth. And I think that language models, LLMs, they are really good at it, at helping you analyze this, and this, you don't have to create the most amazing piece of tech to teach someone. No, but you can use technology very effectively to help you build the right training for your teams or classrooms, whatever, right? And then at the end of the day, there are still tools that are completely, we call these days, I would call them low tech, but maybe they're still tech for some environments, like, simple Word docs and present PowerPoint presentations. AI can help you be more efficient and create better and more interesting content. And I think that that's for organizations with limited resources. That would be the most effective way. Don't rush to explore 100 different technologies and what they can do, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed. But at the end of the day, what is the most important is how your learner practices. So building good practice that is relying on correct learning outcomes will bring you much more effect and result in this sense. So this is my thing. Don't rush to implement technology where it doesn't belong. Just use it as a tool somewhere where you can improve your flow.
I agree with you on this, Iana. I'm with you on the fact that Innovation doesn't have to be the most sophisticated of tools. Once you are intentional about it, once you are caring and passionate enough to want to give your learners the kind of experience that delivers learning to them, you will walk around whatever it is you have, and you're still able to create good experiences for your learners. So we don't need you have it. We don't need the most fancy techniques. It's amazing what you can do with the very low tech range tools that are easily available. Thank you.
Yes,
and the
can
final
I just
question.
add something
Yes,
to this, because I feel that it's important to point out.
yes.
I would say ask yourself, what does my learner need to know? And also, how does my learner learn? Observe, how do your audiences behave? What do they have on hand? What are they using the most? What is a good medium for them? Are they using TikTok? Well, there are. It's a very free and very good source of content that your learners will enjoy so much. And then just use ChatGPT to turn that TikTok video or a series of videos into practice, right? And that is so, you don't really need a lot of resources to have a lot of fun with this. So how does my learner learn? And what does my learner do? Observe it, because we rarely ask these questions as educators. We kind of often stuck to different observe, and you will find your great solutions.
Yes, you're right. You're right about that. How does my learner learn? How can I get this learner to learn from me? Because it starts with knowing and understanding the needs of your learners. It's not about the sophistication of the tool. In fact, the rate at which these tools are coming out is overwhelming. They're changing at the speed of light. And how many do you want to constantly adapt to? So find the ones that work for your learners per time and use that as a tool to teach them. Thank you very much for that. I will give a final question to you, Iana, and I hope that Margarida will be back before you finish. If learning truly has no boundaries, Iana, what mindset or practice do you believe every learner, this time not the educators, every learner should adopt to keep evolving in this fast-changing world?
So I'm a big supporter of the growth mindset theory. And to me, it translates to being comfortable with making mistakes and seeing them as opportunities rather than merit kind of measurement, right?
Yes.
Be ready to fail and enjoy failing. Adopt this reframing mindset. I failed or I made a mistake. This is great. Why is it great? Why? And then you will succeed in everything you do in life. I feel this way because ultimately we learn much more from our mistakes than from our successes. And I think that if we can have this analytical mindset and if we can analyze the situation and be comfortable with it, I think the world would be better overall. I think that we will focus on right things and not on simply moving forward and achieving more. We will actually create our own paths that are more grounded in meaning. And for those who don't know about growth mindset, I recommend learning this theory because it changed my approach a lot and helped me in my life in how I learn as well. And I think that I wish you all to adopt it and wherever possible and use it because it's great.
I like that. I like that reflective note, Iana. This mindset captures that learning is lifelong. You're not stopped by your mistakes, your perceived failures, or the errors you make along the way. As long as you stay open and you're adaptable, you're willing to learn to do things better. You're willing to stretch yourself. grow your mind and you're willing to put in some work there. So in this world where change is so constant, that openness becomes one of our greatest strengths. Thank you very much, Iana. It's been nice having you here. And I am sure that most of our participants have gone away with a different mindset, especially people in my profession, educators. The future belongs to us. We just need to get on board. Thank you very much, Dr. Amaka. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Ibironke, for jumping in last minute. Thank you, Iana. We had to stretch you a bit more because maybe Margarida's network was bringing her in and out. But thank you. We keep moving forward. And this session has been so impactful. And one key takeaway for me said, we should not be afraid to fail. In fact, we should reach the point where we enjoy the failure, knowing that it's the process that gets us to the desired end. I really appreciate you taking time from your busy career, from your busy time, all the things you're doing to come and share your knowledge. We see so many thank yous in the chat. They say thank you to you. They've learned so much from your session. Yeah, Sherifat is just repeating what I said. Don't be afraid to fail or make mistake. It's part of the growth process. That is absolutely, absolutely true. Thank you very, very much for the wonderful time. We are going to keep, oh, I didn't give you applause. Oh, wow, I really started enjoying it. Thank you so much. This is how we truly
thank you. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to thank specifically the commenters. I feel that they also contribute a lot in the chat, and it's kind of rewarding to see the audience that is so engaged. So kudos to you, organizers. Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, all the best to everyone.
All right, thank you. So we are going to keep moving forward. Thank you again, Iana. Thank you, Ma Ibironke. We truly appreciate you for stepping in last minute. All right, now for the audience, you know I've not said this all day. If you are here and you are enjoying the session, do well to repost this session so that more people, today is Saturday, right? It's actually 4:37 in the morning for me. I can't believe it's that early in the morning, but at least in other parts of the world, even in US Central Time, it's already 6:37. So people are waking up. So people could just wake up and see you repost. So please be a good sport, help us repost the event so that more people can come in to learn. So now we'll be changing gears a bit, right? A big part of ScholarUP Mentoring Academy, a big part of our program is around LinkedIn elevation. It's about purposeful visibility. It's about leveraging visibility for your business growth, for your career growth. And for this session, I have two wonderful women who will be joining me on stage. I have Zubedah all the way from Uganda, and I have the Queen of Strategy herself all the way from the UK. Thank you so much for coming into the session. I'm just going to introduce them briefly. Zubedah is the CEO of Muslim Arbitration and Mediation Center, Uganda, and editor-in-chief of Legal Forte newspaper. With over a decade supporting justices at the Supreme Court of Uganda, she now champions ADR and ethical visibility, empowering lawyers to resolve disputes effectively and build impactful, integrity-driven brands. Welcome, Zubedah. I wanted to call you Uganda. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. And then just below her is Adaobi Oti. She's a positioning strategist and keynote speaker, helping brands to move from invisible to irresistible, right? So it's not, you don't just want to be visible, but you want to be irresistible. Founder of Business Fusion and Zero to LinkedIn Hero, she has guided over 500 brands towards clarity and visibility. She's the first BLK Entrepreneur of the Year. She is known for building unforgettable brands that lead, last, and leave a legacy. Thank you both very much for being on time. I hope the network is steadied. You know, all through this event, it's just as though my heart cannot, my heart palpitation cannot go down because I'm literally praying that people are able to come up and have a smooth session without any interruption. But we are going to jump into the conversation. We have about 40 minutes to have this conversation about visibility because I don't know, between last year and this year, personal branding has been thrown around more commonly. I know I didn't used to hear it before. That's from my own point of view. Maybe 5 years ago, I don't think anybody was all up in my ear yapping and talking about build a personal brand, be visible. But that's the new mantra. And because of that, there's also a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Everybody wants to be visible. But one thing I would always ask is, what do you want to be visible doing? That's the conversation we are going to have. And I'm going to start with you, Adaobi. You've been known to help so many brands. You are literally dubbed the queen of strategy. That's a beautiful title anyway. So how do you help these brands go from cluttered to clear? How do you even define this irresistibility that you talk about? Let's start that conversation on that note, because if we don't know what we are talking about, then we might as well be confused. So let's start from that note of clarity of what it means to be an irresistible brand, to go from confusion to clarity. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Omaka. Good day, everyone. I hope I'm audible enough and everyone can hear me. Thank you so much. It's really a great pleasure to be here. I really want to say thank you to the entire team that has had to put this on together. Going by the conversation that we have today, so Dr. Omaka, when you started conversation, you did mention something really very intriguing, and that's very important. Everybody wants to be visible, but there's just been a bit of a clash on what to be visible about. Are you joining people or joining the crowd? Because everyone is saying, oh, let's talk about personal branding, and that's what I want to do. So first, when we talk about being irresistible, it simply means that unique thing, that special thing that when people think about you as an individual, your identity, or maybe with regards to your brand, they would always make reference to, because it kind of stands you out from the crowd. Everybody has something very unique about them. The problem we have is that everybody wants to be too quick to go into the crowd without necessarily defining and understanding what their unique features are. So if you understand that and you put it into your personal brand or your business brand, you become very irresistible. You become distinct. You're unique and different, because they can never be two Adaobi Oti, right? We can be doing the same thing, but we cannot produce the same thing exactly. There's something really very unique about me. And that's what I keep telling people, that we are tired of seeing replicas. We are tired of seeing people doing the same thing over and over again. We want people to now start representing themselves truly for who they are. And that's why the idea is to become irresistible. So when you connect to the people in question you have in mind, it's easier because they're able to see that thing very unique that you're saying. So that's what the whole concept of being irresistible. So I would say, for starters, it all starts with the clarity. Having a clarity of, first of all, who are you? Like I mentioned, a lot of people just go into the crowd. We want to be all visible, but we don't have clarity about ourselves. As an individual, who are you? What do you want to represent? And how do you want people to see you? And who are the people that you're even trying to be visible about? It's not because you've come online and everyone is talking about it. So that clarity is a very, very important factor when you're trying to build an irresistible brand.
Wow, thank you so much. I really like how you broke it down, which is going back to self-awareness. That's what I hear. Because there is no two Adaobi Oti, there is no two Dr. Maka, there is no two Zubedah. So the understanding is trying not to be a replica. I'm just trying to recap what you said. And that's so profound. You don't want to be a replica. You want to be your best self. That is where you can start to build that irresistible brand. That is so beautiful. Thank you very much. Zubedah, I'm going to shift a bit. You are one person whose brand just kind of surprised me, right? Went from not wanting to make a video to making 100 videos every day. And I can't keep up with you. Like, I can't keep up with the events you're hosting, the places you're invited to, places you're speaking. I'm like, wow, did this person become a different person? Because I know the Zubedah that was in the cohort, right? So you live in your field where trust and credibility is everything. You are a lawyer, you are into alternative dispute resolution. Trust, credibility, once you lose it, I think you've lost everything. There's nothing more to do. How does personal branding shape the way professionals in serious industries like law or mediation, how can they use personal branding to help position themselves to build that trust and credibility, which you can't do without?
Thank you very much. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy that the day is here today, day one. It is so exciting. This was a dream, and for it to come from an idea to something that is real is so, so beautiful. So I would like to commend you, Dr. Amaka, for bringing all of us together, the volunteers, the team at ScholarUP Mentoring Academy, and the board of advisors, everyone who has invested, and the attendees. Thank you very much. Now, when it comes to industries that need trust, like law and accountancy and medicine, why it is important for you to build a brand, and why it is the only thing that is going to really push you above all the rest, is because of the temptation to be the same as everyone. You know, we go to the same schools, we go to the assessment mechanisms are the same, you do the same exam, and there's that thought that everyone is the same, and yet we are not built the same. Each one of us has those driving factors that God put in you that make you you. For instance, when I look at myself, I didn't ever consider myself as a speaker, but I was a writer, and my time at the Supreme Court of Uganda helped me build my writing. But when you show up, no one knows that you were actually at the Supreme Court. When you show up generally, it is you're a lawyer just like everyone else. So if there's maybe an opening, everyone will say, put in your papers, and then everyone is going to have the law degree and the bar course, and you're going to get lost in translation. Why it is important to talk about what you have done, to talk about what you're doing, to talk about the people you're working with, is that it is going to open more doors for you. It is going to build your confidence firstly, because the more you do, the more you get confident. And that's why you're saying, I am moving from place to place, because one person sees you doing something and then the next invite comes in, and sometimes you're like, how am I supposed to do all these things? But it is because people see you doing, and very few of us as professionals are being seen doing the things that we are good at doing. It's not that we are not doing things. It's that people are not seeing us doing those things. That's why opportunities are not coming to us. So I would like to implore all the professionals, do not only do, be seen doing. Thank you.
There's some deep insights that you shared there. And it's not that there are not a lot of professionals or experts all over the place. It's just that people don't even know the things that you know. I think you just hit the nail on the head. So the very few that take the courage or the audacity to come on LinkedIn and say, I'm going to share the things I know, then it begins to look like you have superpower. No, you've just developed that courage, and then those opportunities follow it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Zubedah. That was really wonderful. That was wonderful. I see Christiana in the chat. She said, confidence comes from taking deliberate actions. That is absolutely true. There has to be some sort of you just have to be very intentional if you want to move forward. So I'll come back to you, Adaobi. I know that I was reading a survey recently, like a research, and it said most people are more fearful of embarrassment than they are fearful of death. That was very surprising to me, that a good number of people would like, the idea that they are going to be embarrassed, the idea that people are going to make fun of them, like I have a hair out of place, or my English was not too right, or my writing had some errors. All of those things are there. As someone who works with people to try to guide them, to show them the value of actually being intentional about building a personal brand, these sets of professionals that struggle because of judgment, they struggle because of that fear, oh, I'm not perfect, this is wrong about me, that is wrong about me. What is the first mental shift that you would help to guide them? Because now this person wants to do it, but I'm too afraid, like I'm just so scared. How do you help that kind of person?
Okay, so first of all, I think what would be important, like what I get to tell my clients, is it's important for you to acknowledge that these fears are there. Because when you acknowledge that there is certainty, like things like this, it's easier for you to be able to find solution to that problem. And then again, one of the very major mindset shifts that most people need to have is that when it comes to that visibility of showing up, it's not just about you, it's about the people you want to serve. And visibility for me in general is service. It's about what are you trying to bring to the table? Why am I showing up here? So it has gone beyond just myself. And the truth is, even when you are on a lot of time, people think that people who are showing up visible. Most of the top leaders, the celebrities, and people most people think that because they are there, they don't have these fears. That's not true. We all have, sometimes it comes to us, it dawns on us, it's very natural. And these are the factors that contribute to these things are different for each and every one of us. It could be environmental, it could be social, it could be anything. Because there are a lot of distractions when you're trying to build your personal brand or even your business brand. But being, like I said, having that consciousness to know that it is there, that the question is now how we're trying to fight it. So once you have that mental shift first, that helps you to align properly. It's always very important. I tell people that it's very important when you're trying to build up that visibility of your brand, stay accountable. You need to have an accountable team, accountable partners, people that hold you accountable to yourselves, because every day is not going to be rosy. There are times when you would want to wake up and do what you usually would do, and you don't feel the willpower, the zeal to want to move further. These are people that would remind you. They would remind you the reason why you even had to start this journey in the first place. So the both of you are staying accountable, whether it's one person or a team. It just helps to put you in check, right? So just when it feels like you're trying to derail, you're coming back to, set that standard. Another thing you need, that's like a practical step, because there are lots and lots of it. I'm just going to try to just streamline it to 3. Another thing you need to consider every other time is your why. There's a reason why you decided to do the visibility in the first place. The reason why you're out there, right? It's very important that your why keeps ringing a bell. I personally, I always have it as a re-echo in my mind, put it up in my rooms, everywhere, just as a reminder, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. When those challenges, when that thought comes into your mind, you always want to reflect on, why did I even start in the first place? So it has a way of regenerating you, it has a way of keeping you. Then another thing else, which is the last, and like I said, but not the least, just because of want of time, is you need to consciously keep building yourself. Do not think that because you think you have what it takes to build your brand and your personal brand or your business brand, that's not enough. Yes, we know you have something very unique, but you need to consciously key into other areas to develop yourself. Development is not something that happens once. It's an ongoing process for everybody. You never get to a point where you feel like, oh, I have arrived, I don't need to do anything else, everything is all figured out. No. So it's a conscious effort. Take, for example, the way we have new trends with AI and all that. You can't say you want to stay off and not understand how the AI system works. You definitely will be left backward. You need to consciously keep improving at what you're doing, keep opening up to development. And as long as you're doing these 3 things, it helps to put you in line. So you make sure that you're on track, and that helps you to stay. Like I said, it's always very important for us to acknowledge it's okay to really, really reflect and know that, oh yeah, there are times when we feel that fear to want to show up, but we're not trying to feed the fears. And that's where the accountability comes in. That's where the development comes in. That's where you remembering your why comes in, because it helps to put you in position. Thank you.
Wow. Wait, let me clap for you before we continue. That was really, really good. There was a lot of details. Like, it's just a lot to unpack, right? When it comes to this personal branding thing, there's a lot of misconception, and then there is clarity. There is, why are you doing this? And you said something that was very profound. That is acknowledging that the fears are there. And even the Dr. Amakas and the Zubedahs and the Adobis, you think, putting their head out there every day is not because they are not afraid. There are days too that you wake up and you truly don't want to do this thing. I'm the first to tell you that. As much as I'm very committed, there are days it's like, why am I even doing this? And you question that. But then understanding why you started, remembering it, having those accountability partners. Because there are days that your own strength fails you, and it is those people that will remind you and say, hey, do you remember you are the queen of strategy? What's happening to you? Or Zubedah, do you remember you are the president of Uganda? Where are you? And things like that. You need those people that would hype you up when your own strength begins to fail you. Thank you so much. Zubedah, I'll come back to you with a question, right? There's always this misconception. I know that was something I struggled with when I started showing up on LinkedIn as a PhD student with a science background. Scientists are known to be serious people. So it's like people are looking at you like, what's wrong with you? This is odd. You've gone through bachelor's, master's, PhD, you are a scientist. This is not what, it just feels as though you are either wasting your time or you are shamelessly promoting yourself. That's that misconception. That the fact I show up to tell my stories online, I share my struggles, I share my wins, I'm promoting myself. How can professionals understand the difference between being confident and being proud? You know, it's similar. Being confident can easily be mistaken for pride and vice versa. And how can you show up authentically online without going into shameless self-promotion that it becomes off-putting to people?
My starting point to answer that question would be an experience I've had with the Uganda Law Society recently. I've been having a lot of conversations with many lawyers, and many of them are depressed. And it is depressing, and I would understand it, because before I also joined LinkedIn, I felt like opportunities for lawyers were scarce. Then the opportunities that were there were also not the opportunities that I wanted. So when you speak to these lawyers, it is because they are struggling with the opportunities, but it is not because they are lacking talent. It is because the world doesn't know who they are, what they are good at, and how well they can do what they say they can do. So for me, the starting point is, if you are struggling with lack of opportunities, and there's someone who is showing up on LinkedIn who is tapping into abundant opportunities, I do not want to listen to someone who does not have opportunities, whose life I don't want to I don't admire, to tell me anything about why you're showing up. Why are you telling us that you earned your master's? Why are you telling us that you did this certificate? I am trying to, first of all, do it as a service, because, for instance, for me, alternative dispute resolution, for many people, many people didn't know it existed. So when I come on here and tell people about alternative dispute resolution, I am giving a service, and it is a genuine service. So when I'm telling you about what I have had the opportunity to learn that someone else has not learned, it is not me showing off. It is me telling you, by the way, if you're dealing with a dispute, there is a way that you can deal with it outside court. So for me, if that is my background and that is my driving force, I am not going to feel like I am shamelessly promoting, because, of course, I studied this thing for me to serve the world. Me sitting in my office with it is not going to reach as many people as possible. Then the other thing would be that, of course, coming from a legal background and from many traditional professionals, it is for us, it is even illegal for you to advertise. There is a provision of the law that says you as a lawyer should not advertise, should not do all these things. But we are in a space today where geographical boundaries have been shattered. If we have organized a whole conference without ever meeting in person, if I can, yes, we've never met in person, but we feel connected. I trust you, you trust me. When I say I'm going to show up, I show up. When you say I'm going to do this, we do this. That is a need. There's a need for us professionals to understand that we were raised for the Industrial Revolution, and it is no longer working. And we are in a space today where your perfect opportunity, because of the internet and the digital transformation, could be in the US. I personally was mentored by you. Yes? I did not find anyone in Uganda who was doing exactly what I wanted. But when I saw you on LinkedIn, you were able to influence me. I've had conversations with you. I called you when you asked me to record my first video. We had a conversation. I told you I cannot do it. And that was really connection. So for you to think, I don't want people to feel like all the people who are going to mentor me, all my opportunities are within my space. So shamelessly go out there, tell people what you are, tell people what you're struggling with, see the people who are doing better than you, and tap into their wisdom if you want to grow. Thank you.
That is good. These days, like I said, there's a disconnect in my mind from the person who could not make a 1-minute video to the person who is talking everywhere, hosting events, and it just reinforces that in my mind that people can change. You just have the willingness. You just have to want it enough such that you push through that initial discomfort. So thank you very much, Zubedah. You shared a lot of deep insights, which is, I have learned these things. If I sit with it and say it's only the people within my sphere, the people I meet every day, the people in my office, the people in my house, how much impact can I make for it? And like you said, some of us are raised for a different generation, which no longer exists. We are now geographical barriers shattered. Ada is in the UK, you are in Uganda, there's people all over the place. We put this conference together, never one day meeting each other. Who knows when we ever meet in person? But we're able to work together and produce something beautiful, which probably 5 years ago was even difficult.
Would not be possible.
Compared to now. So it's like if you stay stuck in that generation, then you'll be left behind, right? And we don't want to leave anybody behind, just as the first keynote speaker said. Ada, I'm going to come back to you. Now, the best brands, there's this thing about people show up on LinkedIn, for example. I'm going to use LinkedIn as an example. People show up and they feel like they want to sell a service, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Feel like I have this skill of copywriting, video editing, and this and that. I've developed all of these skills and I should get paid for it. And what I've learned over time is that sometimes people just come and start selling, trying to sell, and they feel frustrated because no one is buying. It's like, why is nobody seeing me? Do they know how many years of experience I have? Do they know that? And truly, sometimes when you check, they probably have value to give. So what I want you to speak to now is, how do you build a brand that doesn't just try to sell, but actually connect, where people are actually begging you to buy what you have? You know, you go from chasing to attracting. What are the strategies? What are some of the steps that someone can use to achieve that?
Thank you very much, Dr. Amaka. One thing I really love about branding is they're really very connected. It's like you can't go to two without going to one. So when I talked about the clarity, you see, if you don't have clarity in what you're doing, it kind of rubs off on every other thing else you do. And that's where most people find themselves. So first, just to take it back a step a bit backward with what you said about years back and not having this kind of environment that we have to be able to connect to each other, I can also remind us that the reason why this connection is happening, it was someone's creativity. Someone's creativity brought this together. That's why we're able to do this. And in the next years to come, another person's creativity might just take us up to the space. Who knows? And that still boils down to people coming out from their comfort zone, coming out to represent. Like, I love what the first speaker said. He said, shamelessly being yourself, like, just carry it like you're not caring about. So these things are kind of really very connected. For you to be able to position yourself, it is really very boring to be that person that would always want to sell. You want to sell your products as an individual or as a brand. A business brand, or even your personal identity. It can be really boring, especially to people who you're trying to sell it to, when you don't get the results that you're expecting from them. There is something that's very important when it comes to branding, which is the connection. Human beings are not, I want to be able to, I'm connecting to fellow human beings. Even though I have services and I have something I want to offer, I'm not talking to robots, right? These are human beings who have feelings, who have different things going on for them every other day. They have their life all figured out or not figured out or in the process. So as much as possible, one of the things people forget when they try to send this out is they forget that you're also dealing with a human being. You're not dealing with a robot. And as such, most people can actually, let me even talk about the personal brand. So people can, to some extent, smell when you're not being real from afar. They can really tell when you're not a version of yourself. You're just coming up and being all salesy and all that. They can really tell about that, which is not really good. People want to see you for who you are, what you represent truly. We don't just want someone who has it 100% figured out. In the process of you trying to come out realistically, we're able to understand the process. We're able to understand your story. We're able to understand the motive behind what you're having to do. I shared a conversation with someone, and then the person was saying, we were talking about the pain points, and I said something to the person. I said, when you reach out to your clients and you want to speak to them, you're not just reaching out to them for their pain point. Also reach out to them for gain points. Who told you I can have gain points as well? It's not always about the pain. It could be that I'm in a better place and I want to be in an even better place, right? So you need to put that constructively in our conversation, in the way you're reaching out, the way you're having to talk to me. Let there be you don't know me, you don't have any, you're not even taking time to understand. You don't even know if I fit into the market or the kind of people you're supposed to be talking to about. There are so many ghostwriters, for example. You made mention of that, the copywriters and the ghostwriters. We have so many of them. So one thing that comes to the mind of who you're trying to send messages, why does it have to be you? You have to be able to leave that, always have it at the back. The problem most people have is we are always too quick to send that message, but we don't try to put ourselves, in the position of the people we are sending message to. Why do I have to click that button? Why do I have to? I had a conversation one of the times with the numerous, you know how LinkedIn can be, for example, you get lots and lots of DM, and the person's message started with saying, I love this particular outfit you wore. It was so beautiful. I think this is your favorite color. And funny enough, that day was not really the best of the day for me. But that message was an intro to our conversation. You have just succeeded in connecting to me at the point and, telling me something really very interesting that brought. Now, she wanted to obviously talk about her services. She eventually spoke about her services, right? But my point is that initial connection was actually there. She didn't come in saying, oh, hi, if you need this, that. We are used to that kind of style on LinkedIn, for example. Right. And people, most times when they see that message, they don't even open it because they already know where you are headed at. So connection when it comes to branding is very important. You want to take your time, understand how best can I connect to my audience, right? That is what big brands are taking advantage of. If you talk about the likes of iPhone, we want to ask yourself this question. When you think about buying an iPhone, what comes to the mind of people? What do people, they've been able to build that connection, that trust, that whenever you have an iPhone, this is what you're going to get. The camera quality is really top notch. You make sure in terms of the operating system, absolutely top notch. They have been able to build that and they understand the market, the people they are trying to get this to, the luxury people who really do not want stress. They just want it all 100% figured out. Right. So if we are able to use that, it would go a long way to help us to manage how we reach out to our target audience, how we reach out to people in such a way that you're not trying to beg them to come and sell to you. You're rather attracting them because you have something I'm offering. There's something that I'm seeing that you're offering, and I have to find you because I know that just by having that conversation with you, you'll be able to give me the results. So the problem is not just having to sell. Let's try and add a bit of emotional intelligence. Let's try and have a bit of connection so that at the end of the day, people will not just speak to us and be like, we just did like a general broadcast for sales without necessarily converting them. So this is really very important. And that's why I said, but what you would struggle with it if you don't have clarity about who you are, the people you in question you even want to be able to attract to, what services you're offering to them, what is that thing that you're saying, oh, I can do this and I can do it way, way better. This is how I do it. It becomes a problem, yes.
Wow, that is so true. And Catherine is re-echoing what you're saying. She said, you need to learn how to connect with your audience genuinely first. That builds relationship. That just kind of sums up what you're saying, which is, I think sometimes people try to do personal branding wrong. You don't understand that it is first investment. The investment part might not be sweet. It might be slow. It might feel like, oh, why should I even reach out to this person and say happy birthday? As Ada said, why should I reach out and say, oh, your dress is nice? Because I genuinely feel it is, right? People want to skip all of that because I'm the expert. I carry a lot of value. Please, let's cut to the chase. Let's get to the bottom of the funnel immediately. And that is where the frustration is because it never truly works. People don't want to connect with perfection, honestly. They want to see the process. They want to understand why you're doing what you're doing and what is pushing you. Thank you so much, Ada, for the clarity you have provided there. Zubedah, I'm going to come back to you. You are a lawyer, you are a mediator. That's a serious profession. How do you now balance authority and approachability with being respected and respectable? It's like I'm this serious person, and I think I've coached a lot of people who struggle with that. They have 10 PhDs, 10 master's degrees, CEO of this, CEO of that, very important people. And then you are high up there in the mind of your audience because they look at you like you are on a pedestal and I can't really reach this person. You as a person, you're trying to connect with them, but they just feel alienated from you. So as professionals, as we show up with all of our degrees and all of our accomplishments and all of our lessons, how do we ensure that as we build a personal brand, we don't build it such that we make ourselves unapproachable without even knowing? We just make it difficult that somebody just is like, that's Zubedah, I can't even approach her because see all the things she has accomplished. That's a possibility. So how do we balance that?
I love this question. I was speaking to my mentor on Thursday, and I told him, when people see me on LinkedIn, they think I am extroverted. And yet I am actually I'm a very, very, like, if it wasn't for law, like for showing up on LinkedIn, and I am naturally a very, very private person. That is why you will not see me talking about maybe my children, my things that are really outside work on LinkedIn. But one thing I have learned from my mentor, who is a judge of the Supreme Court, is that you need people. We build ourselves not for ourselves, because if I am this good and no one can bring me an opportunity, what's the point? Because I have become too unapproachable, because I have this masters and then this, all those accolades that we collect. You need to get over yourself. You need to know that now, okay, I am building myself up for service of the people. And the only way this is going to work, it is going to be through me mixing with people, me being nice to people, me being courteous, me being able to, like, even on a bad day, being able to smile at someone, because they don't really care about your day. For instance, if someone has seen you talk about personal branding for lawyers, when they meet you, the first thing they're going to ask you is not that, oh, how are you in the mood today to talk about personal branding? They think you're always ready to talk about personal branding for lawyers. They're going to be like, oh my God, I like your work. And that is how usually they start. And oftentimes you are not even in that space. You've had a long day, but yes, you take the time and be like, okay, yeah, this is what we can do. And okay, maybe if you're not, like, you don't have the time to do the whole 360, you will schedule maybe a meeting of, like, call me at this time, I'll be able to answer all your questions. But the one thing I have learned from successful people, and I think it really, like, our experiences, usually when you speak to very, very successful people, they are too humble. They have more accolades and yet they are more humble. So you really wonder, you have one degree and you feel like the world rotates around you. And this person who has achieved all the accolades there are to achieve is trying to meet the next person, say hello to the next person, and be a part of things that you probably think, why am I about? Why should I be a part of this Ascension thing? Maybe no one is going to give me an opportunity there, but they are willing to come. You're sharing yourself with the world, because that is what it is all about. If you are not working for the service of the world and the betterment of the world, then what are you for? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much, Zubedah. A lot of people are re-echoing what you're saying, and which I think the most important thing, Rabia to just captured it. You need people. We cannot exist in isolation, right? We can't exist in isolation. And I see Chinecherem, she said, having clarity of who you are before the thought of visibility. That is what makes you irresistible. This is from a quote from what Ada said. That is so, so true. It's important that as we collect all our accolades, as important as our accolades are, it's also very important that we don't forget that we need to get over ourselves. Because you can collect all your accolades, and those accolades will collect dust, and nobody cares about them. It's like, I don't care you have all of these accolades. If you cannot connect with me, if I cannot see me in your story, then there's no point. Like, just stay with your accolades and everything you've gotten. And I think Ada also said something important that I want to re-echo. She said, all the time we think about pain points, and that's good. You want to solve painful problems, right? If you want your solution to be all over the place, solve painful problems. But there's also gain points. That's not something we hear about every day, right? Where people are already living well, but they want to live better. So you can think about something that will make their life. Think about AI, for example, that is crazy and all over the place, that we all have this dependency on now. Less than 4 years ago, when I was applying to come to the US for graduate school, I didn't have ChatGPT to go and run my essay by. But now it feels unthinkable that we can have life without AI. But our life was functional, right? So everything you needed to write, even you as a lawyer that have all these paperwork to write, did you have ChatGPT to help you streamline, help you do research? But you got your degree. You have all these experiences. So there is those aspects of my life is good, but it can be better. And I can think about ways as someone who is positioning my brand to make it better. So we are winding up now. We have about 3 or 4 more minutes on this session. So I'm going to ask one more question to Ada as a way to wrap up, one more question to Zubedah. Now, Ada, we talk about thought leadership a lot in building a brand, right? I think that's the most important aspect. You want to be taken serious as much as you don't want to be too serious. You want your name to be associated with something. When I think about Ada, I say queen of strategy. That's one sentence, right? You talk about Zubedah, you say ADR, mediation. I don't need to use too many words to explain what you are about. That is how you build thought leadership, and people can begin to associate you with something. How can people do that? People who show up with so many different skills, but they want to build thought leadership. And then what will be the final word you leave the audience with when you say a branding code? Like whatever you do in personal branding, if you break this branding code, then you're messing up. So that's your final question.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to just dive into thought leadership, right? So let's take it a step back. When you talk about thought leadership, you're talking about people who are being recognized for having to stand out in their different niche. Like there's something really, when we talk about these individuals, we can always add up something to say, oh, this is what they are known for, right? So the thought leadership, one beautiful thing about thought leadership, if you understand it, is it's a very good tool for your personal branding and even your business branding, because for thought leadership, you're a leader and you've been able to build by influence. People have not been able to like ascribe to you. What the thought leadership does for you is it helps you to build up a very track record and, a proven track of a community. You have people who have been able to work with you, people who have been able to come to trust what you do. So when we talk about trust in branding itself, when you have the thought as a thought leader, you've been able to build that trust. It helps you build it even faster. It also helps you build that credibility faster, unlike someone who just went into business, just going to business directly. You will still go through that process. But what I'm saying is the thought leadership makes it easier for you. It's like a soft landing for you because you already have a backup, you already have a backbone, right? So people already have been able to identify that this is who this person is. So it's easier for you to now connect and be able to ascribe to your outer client. So you cannot effectively be a very good build up a very good personal brand without thinking about thought leadership. So this is something I encourage people to be able to start, and you need to start small. It's just about what you're having to present towards, what you're trying to bring to the table for us to know, and little by little, you're able to build up that track record, you're able to build up that trust. So when that is being achieved, it's now easy for you to now take it a step further into like your branding, take it a bit further into like your business branding. I tell people the connection between your personal branding and business is, it's just like saying you can't give what you don't have. Your personality naturally rubs off on your business, right? And this is what the thought leadership will help you to be able to build. If I go all and all on this, just to be able to like make it a bit more summative, one keyword I want to leave each and every one of us with today is, I tell people we're tired of seeing just brands. People, we want to see something different. When you think about building your personal brand or your business, think about doing things differently. Think about what solution are you bringing? So it could be an already existing problem, or it could be an already existing situation that is happening, and you're coming from a different innovative way of having to do that particular thing. But all we're saying is we don't want replica where people usually get to try things. Everybody wants to do what someone has already done, or less. All of us, we have a business, we own a business, but that's not what we want. We want a world where people are able to identify their uniqueness that they have and be able to work with the uniqueness to be able to bring up something really very innovative. And to be honest, these things are easier said than done. You need to be able to have a very good level of consistency. It's very important when it comes to your personal brand and business. And that's why you have your accountability partners. You have people to stay accountable to help you with consistency. If iPhone, for example, decided to put a pause with their branding and development, we probably will not know about iPhone up until now. We have a lot of business phone brands that are no longer in existence anymore. We heard about them years back, but we're not hearing about them anymore. That's what consistency does. So I'm just going to encourage each and every one of us, when you're trying to build your personal brand and business, please do not just look at doing what every other person is doing. It's okay to learn from them. It's okay to see people that have gone ahead of you. But as much as possible, we also want a touch and uniqueness of what makes it you, why it has to be you when it comes to you, what makes it different from
Right.
another person. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was so packed. Deserves an applause. Zubedah, we have 1 more minute for this panel. Can you tell us what is the last thing, or what's the final thoughts on your mind for professionals, for institutions like law and other medical associations who want to build a personal brand? What would be your thoughts for them to say, this is where you start? This is how you build a brand that is irresistible. This is your touch point. Yeah.
What I would like for every professional to do is to sit down and understand that the only way you escape competition in your industry is through your brand. Because for me, I am able to embrace my religion. I am able to stand as a lawyer. I'm able to be a mentor. I'm able to be a writer. I'm able to create the various products. And for many of our roles that are traditional, you can only do so much. You have a job description that is lined up for you to do this, that, and doing something outside might actually get you a problem, might get you fired, might get you disciplinary action. So it is important for you to embrace all these things and make all of them thrive. Because many of us are writers, for instance, or you are a singer, or you are God created us in ways that we are so diverse, like even in our individual state, that we could conquer the world, but we are not tapping into our fullest potential. So I would like for you to go back as a professional from here, sit down, ask yourself, what are the good things? What are my talents? What are the areas I can improve? And tap into all those things. You might be working in a hospital as a doctor, and yet advocacy might hold more opportunities for you than you are injecting people. So you need to do more in terms of soul searching, self-awareness, and I hope to see you conquering the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Let me say in closing, if you are not following Adaobi Oti or Zubedah on LinkedIn, I don't know what you're doing. And most importantly, these beautiful ladies are official members of the ScholarUP Advisory Board. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for always responding. Anytime I come to your DM to say, hey, Ada, this is it. Zubedah, this is it. I'm grateful for it. ScholarUP appreciates you for being great alumni, taking the mission forward, coming back, wanting to give back, wanting to stay connected. Thank you so much. With a round of applause, let us get a letter. Thank you very much. We have all the audience saying wonderful things. They're clapping for you. Thank you very much for your time on the stage today. So there should be a touch of uniqueness in what you do, something that is you. And then Rabia to say thank you. She said she loves you. Thank you. Thank you, Rabia. Really, truly appreciate that. So now we will be going to the next panel session. So this is a very special panel that we would have. We have Kimisha all the way from Barbados. She will be moderating this panel. Kimisha is also a wonderful alumni of ScholarUP, and she's always willing to answer when we call her. So Kimisha King is a dynamic visionary strategist and life purpose coach from Barbados, dedicated to helping individuals unlock their potential and step fully into their purpose. As the founder of Queen Mindset, she empowers people across the globe to rise with clarity, confidence, and conviction. Thank you so much, Kimisha. Thank you for always being there when we reach out. It's an honor to have you moderating this panel. So we have Dr. Josiah as a member of the panel, and we are supposed to have MD Mokhtar. I don't see him at the back of the stage, but I'll be watching. If MD Mokhtar joins in, I'm going to bring him to the stage so you guys can start the conversation so that we can stay on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amaka. Thank you so much. So welcome, Dr. Josiah. So Dr. Josiah is a medical doctor, an author, and a philanthropist driven by the belief that life's purpose is to experience fullness and help others to do the same. With 4 years of clinical experience and a strong focus on preventative medicine, he is committed to empowering communities, with practical health knowledge. His journey of service began in 2014 with the founding of the Smile Makers, a rural child development initiative. His passion for transformation expanded into financial literacy and mindset development, leading to two published books, The Money Farm and Dynamics of Cash Flow, and the launch of the Young Minds Hub in 2025. For over a decade, he has remained dedicated to shaping young minds and uplifting communities through education and philanthropy. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Dr. Josiah. And we have MD Mokhtar Hossein, a dynamic trainer, speaker, and youth leader specializing in personal branding, leadership, and soft skills development. Known for delivering impactful trainings to students, professionals, and corporate teams, he empowers individuals to grow with confidence and clarity. He has earned multiple international youth leadership awards and represented Bangladesh on global platforms, fostering cross cultural dialogue and professional growth. With strong expertise in communication, problem solving, and mentorship, Mokhtar is a respected voice in youth empowerment and professional development. Help me to welcome MD Mokhtar. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. So, Dr. Josiah, I have a question for you today. So, you spent years helping people transform not just their health, but their minds. And from your perspective, what defines a true growth mindset in today's world?
Well, thank you for the question, and thank you to the organizers and everyone who has made this possible, and to the audience who are here today. To set the foundation for this panel discussion, I would like to just briefly explain at least what mindset is, and understand what growth mindset is before we actually get to that. So generally, our mindset is our thought pattern. It determines how we perceive situations and how we react to situations. Okay. So thought patterns that determine how we perceive situations and how we react to situations. That is one's mindset. And you have two sides of mindsets. So we have the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. I'm sure most of us have come across this. Now, growth mindsets, typically the underlying ideology is that you believe in effort and you believe in the possibility of any dream that you have. Fixed mindset thinks that once I'm not good at something, I'm not good at it, and that is it. I am who I am. I can't get better, I can't get worse, I'm just who I am. But growth mindset believes that there's always room for improvement. There's always room to do better. You can learn anything and adapt to any situation. All right. So on that background, to answer the question, I think we all agree that we are in a fast-paced world. You know, we came from the Stone Age through so many ages to the Industrial Age. We came to the Information Age. Now AI is everywhere. Anytime you go to YouTube, you see so many arts about AI applications and all that. So it tells us that the world is continuously evolving. And the most important growth mindset principle one needs in today's world is continuous learning and adaptability. Why? As the world grows, new things are coming. And I already mentioned in growth mindset, the belief is that I can learn anything I put my mind to. So to survive in today's world and not to be left behind, it is important that one develops the ability to continuously learn, to constantly learn what is happening, so that you can adapt to the new trends that are coming, adapt to the new technologies, adapt to the new ways of doing things. Otherwise, you'll be left behind. You can be talented, but if you cannot make use of the current tools available to you, you cannot make use of the current technologies available to you, your talent will become outdated, it become obsolete, and nobody will come to you for anything. So that is it, continuous learning and adaptability.
Absolutely true. Listen, I concur with every single word. And MD Mukhtar, I have to ask you this question. You've trained so many professionals as well in confidence and leadership. What's the biggest mindset barrier that you are seeing that is holding back people from their potential?
Okay, thank you so much. And the greatest barrier to human potential is not capability, it is mindset, from my point of view. So, the young professional often always tell to me, as I would like to discuss with young professional what's their biggest mindset barrier. So they tell me about that, sir, I don't think I am ready. And then let me gain more experience first. And what if people laugh at me? That's the main barrier from the beside people for the young people. So the belief that I am not enough yet, it is the biggest mindset barrier for the young professional. Let's know about an example. In the last year, I mentored a university student who wanted to start a campus leadership club. He drafted ideas, wrote plans, even designed a logo, but never launched it because he said, I'm afraid I will fail. So, in his mind, he always think or thought that he will fail. So, when we reframe failures as a learning opportunity, then he finally took the first step. So today, his club has more than 150 active members organizing seminars and social projects because he removed his fairness and fairness from his mind. So the lesson is he didn't success because he removed fear. He successed because he moved despite fear. So from my point of view, the biggest mindset barriers are I'm not ready. And what if people laughed at me? If anyone can defect these things, he can easily compare to others and go ahead with his potentials and activeness. Thank you.
I mean, this is absolutely true. I see this. I see this so often. It's crazy. It is crazy. That is exactly it. Thank you for sharing that. And Dr. Josiah, back to you with another question. You have also written about financial literacy and personal development. How do you see mindset shaping not just success, but one's relationship with purpose and service?
All right, that's a great question. So, I think to answer this question, I'll share a little story with us. It's actually a story I shared in my book, The Money Farm. So, it's a story of twins born to a drunk and irresponsible father. You know, he'll go out every day. By the time he comes back late in the night, he's drunk. There's so much chaos in the house. You know, so these children grew up in this toxic environment where their father was hardly available and hardly supportive of anything they did. And they saw their mother go through so much stress because of that. 30 years down the line, one of them becomes a successful commercial farmer, a responsible father with a family, giving his family the best that he can possibly give as humanly possible. The other is a lawyer who is drunk, a drunk as well, struggling to keep his job, struggling to keep his family together. He's hardly available. And a young man as curious as I can be. So decided to question them and find out why they grew up in the same home but went in different directions. So the first one, who is successful, the successful commercial farmer, he said, growing up, I saw what my father's irresponsibility and his drunk state did to the family. I saw the unhappiness on my mother's face and all the chaos that was happening in the house, and I decided that when I grow up, I'll be a better father, I'll be a better man, and I'll raise a better family. Then the second twin, who was the lawyer struggling to keep his family, to keep his job, he says that, well, I don't really think it's my fault because growing up, all I saw was what my father was doing. And you know, kids, we learn from our parents. So it's more like I grew up to become what my dad taught me to be. So two people, the same situation, different thought processes, different outcomes, which brings us to Jack Canfield's formula, which is E plus R equals to O. And I'll explain that in a bit to answer the question. Situations alone do not make us who we are. You know, everybody goes through different situations, whether it's in pursuit of your purpose, your calling, whether it's in your job place where you're trying to serve customers. You meet annoying customers, you meet angry customers, you know. And in pursuit of purpose, in my case, philanthropy, sometimes you even want to help people and they want to take advantage of your kindness. So all these things are situations that you meet as in pursuit of your purpose or in pursuit of giving service to people. But then these situations, the situations stand alone do not determine the impact it will have on your life. It does not determine the direction which your life will go. The main determinant is how you react to these situations. So in the accountable formula, the E is for events or the situations you find yourself in at any stage in your life. The R is your reaction to those situations. And the reaction plus the event creates the outcome, which is the O in the accountable formula. So that's for me is what we need to look at. Your reaction to the situations will determine how you go, and that has to do with your mindset. Because as I mentioned earlier, mindset determines how we perceive a situation and how we react to the situation. So if you have a growth mindset, even in difficult situations, you will always look at how to either make it better or how to turn that into a stepping stone for your own personal growth. But if you have a fixed mindset, then you think that this is something that is just out of my control. I don't have the ability to solve it now, so let's just let it be. And that for me is very important.
Wow, I love that. I love that breakdown, that analogy. E plus R equals O. You know, you're talking about the event, you're talking about the reaction, and then the outcome. Somebody needs to put that in the chat. Oh, I see someone did it already. Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that. I'm going to be using that, Dr. Josiah. All right. So, Mokhtar, my next question for you is that you often you speak about clarity and confidence. How can young leaders shift from fear of failure to curiosity and growth?
Okay, thank you so much for the emerging question. As we talk about clarity and confidence and how young leaders shift from fear to failure to curiosity and growth, that shift begins with one simple mental sense, just one simple mental sense. Most people ask, what if I fail? He asks himself that what if I fail? But the leaders who grow ask what I will learn from this. So the leaders focus on how we learn from this, and the failure always think that what I will fail. When you turn fear into curiosity, something magical happens. Your brain opens, your creativity expands, and your confidence begins to grow. So I once guided a young participant who broke down during her first presentation. Instead of stopping her, he simply asked, what did this moment teach you? She smiled through tears and said, I spoke longer than yesterday. That means I am improving. That is the power of curiosity. Curiosity doesn't remove fear, it helps you to walk through fear with purpose, with vision, and with new energy. So, we should follow the young leaders. We should follow always what I will learn by doing this work, not focus on failing. So, if you have the curiosity to learn, to do something creative, and to learn after this work, you easily remove your failness, and leaders can grow by his curiosity. and do something better from the next time. Thank you.
Beautiful. I love that. What can I learn? And I love her response as well. She went a bit longer than last time. That is just amazing. That's important too as well to help us to build that growth mindset. So thank you for sharing that. Dr. Josiah, many people know what to do about but struggle. They know what to do, but they struggle to believe that they can change. How do you help others move from awareness to action?
All right. So I think one of the profound statements I made in my book is that knowledge is only potential, but what actually creates results is the ability to act strategically and consistently on the knowledge one has. And to back that up, another profound statement I always make is action creates the possibility of success. So the awareness is the knowledge. But then there is this inertia that pulls people back. And I'll link it to what Mokta is saying. You know, the fear of failure, the fear of whether I'm not good enough, you know, that imposter syndrome. Feel like you come out and then people laugh at you or people think that you are pretending to be who you are not. That can hold people back. All right. So what I tell people is start where you are with what you have and take baby steps. Once you start, the first step, so any gradual process you make, so you celebrate the first step, you take one step, applaud yourself for taking that step, but realize that there are still more steps to go. Once you celebrate your first step, it comes to a good feeling. Then you want to take the second step because you want to enjoy that good feeling. The dopamine is rising. Now you want to enjoy more of the dopamine. You take your next step. You see that, okay, it's like I can really do this if I keep going. Then you take your third step. And the more you achieve and the more you celebrate your achievements, but balancing your celebration with complacency, the more you realize that you are actually capable of changing, you are capable of achieving more if you keep going in the right direction. So the ability to take that first step, the ability to take those baby steps is what I mostly teach people that get them out of that state of inertia or that trap in which they find themselves that they feel they cannot get out. And that has proven to work. Just to add something to that, one thing I'll say is in anything you do, always have someone behind you, either an accountability partner or someone who can help push you. And I'll give an example. Recently, I've been trying to personally, I'm the late to bed, late to rise type, so I struggle to wake up early in the morning. And recently, I've been studying for something, and I feel they need to wake up early to study. So I told my wife, when I set my alarm, I will snooze it, and I'll not wake up. So I told her to also set a second alarm on her phone. When my alarm rings, hers also rings. She'll wake up, I'll wake up, she'll wake me up. Make sure that I get out of bed and go and do what I need to do. And that, I think, can also help push you. But the first important thing is taking that first step. Take the first step, take the baby steps. Celebrate your small wins while aiming for the bigger wins. You always get to where you want to get to.
Beautiful, beautiful. So as you are just tuning in, I want you to be reminded, just take the first step. Whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're passionate about, take that first step. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Josiah. And Mukhtar, you've worked across a global context and youth are programs as well. How can communities and organizations create spaces where failure is seen as part of learning and not a setback?
Okay, thank you for mentioning that. I am a global youth leaders and work with many global youth programs. So to build a community where failure becomes part the learning process, we must redesign how we treat mistakes. Here are three strategies that create safe, supportive, and empowering the environment. The first one is normalize conversation about the failure. In many cultures, failure is shameful, as like in our society, always everyone treat the failure that you are the loser, and who failed, he feel that I am shameful. But in learning culture, failure is celebrated. In my youth groups, we run a session called My Favorite Failure. In this session, everyone shares their own ideas from the failure, as like a mistake they made, the lesson they learned, how it helped them to grow. Do you know what happens after that? Yes. Within minutes, the room becomes united, and people realize that I am not the only one who struggles. The emotional connection builds trust and confidence. And the second one, reward experimentation, not perfection. Imagine schools and organizations where students are rewarded for trying new things, not for getting everything right. Imagine workplace where managers say, "Thank you for trying. Let's refine it together." When experimentation is celebrated, innovation becomes the culture, and everyone, the teammates and other people, get motivation and try to do something new from the next steps. And the number three, build mentorship and support the systems. Confidence grow faster when guidance is available. Mentors can turn a young person fair into directions. Some of the young juniors from my community always ask me about what is their next step and how can they develop their skills. I always suggest take the step to learn something, enroll a new course, and join the group of people where you can get the new experience, new skills, and the new opportunities. So peer groups can turn confusion into courage. Self-feedback circles can turn mistakes into strategies. Let me share an example from Bangladesh. A rural youth forum wanted to create a digital learning program for children, but they had no proper device, poor internet, low attendance, and no training. They failed multiple times, but the community didn't judge them. They supported them emotionally and technically. With guidance, the youth redesigned the sessions and use offline videos, adopt group learnings, and adjust the timings. Today, their digital classes are reached almost 700 rural children. So their success was not absence of failure, it was the management of failure. So we should manage our failure and create a great plan to avoid the failure. So failure is not opposite of success. Failure is the teachers of success. I am always believe that when I will fail, but I will learn something. So communities that understand this become communities where confidence grow naturally. Thank you.
Beautiful. Listen, I love that. I'm seeing in the chat that Catherine, she has summed it up pretty nicely by saying, when experimentation is celebrated, innovation becomes the culture. That is so beautiful. I love that. I love when you said, let's see from the failure, let's turn that into a strategy. Beautiful, beautiful. I hope that you guys are really taking notes because these guys are really dropping some gems here for us this morning. And so for Dr. Josiah, as we continue, we're coming pretty close to an end, but I have to ask, how can daily disciplines like reflection, gratitude, or learning to rewire the mind stay resilient in changing seasons?
Could you take the question again, please?
Absolutely. How can daily disciplines like reflection, gratitude, or learning rewire the mind to help stay resilient in challenging seasons?
Okay. Uh, Personally, one of my guiding principles in life is where there is no struggle, there is no strength. And this is something I actually picked way back in primary school. And it's just to say that when you are going through life and everything seems smooth, you are so like there's no struggle, you are not having any challenges, it means you are way deep down in your comfort zone and nothing grows in the comfort zone. So challenges are a normal part of every path to success. Challenges are a part of every journey to growth. So everybody goes through challenges. Okay. And sometimes we get, overwhelmed with these challenges that we feel so frustrated, so discouraged, and we feel like we are not going anywhere. We are not achieving anything. So it takes, a moment of reflection to look back. Okay, 5 years ago, this is where I was. 10 years ago, this is where I was. Today, this is where I am. Then you actually appreciate that even though you've not arrived at where you want to go, you've actually come a long way from where you were before. And when you realize that, then it encourages you that you can keep going. And I always believe that gratitude is the language of the universe. So, in as much as you've not arrived at where you want to go yet, but acknowledging the fact that you've come from somewhere to a better place and expressing that gratitude, being thankful to your creator, to God, to nature, whatever you believe in, that you've brought me this far, this is where I am now. That gratitude goes back and it's like a magnet. It attracts more good things because I always say everybody likes when you are being praised, right? When you do something you are being praised, you are happy. So if you give thanks to your creator, your God, your nature, whatever you believe in, it's a way of praising them or praising that object of worship. And once they are praised, they are happy, then they want to do more. What happens? They want to give you more good things. So that gratitude attracts more to you, right? But then, I mentioned something earlier. It is very important that you balance celebration with complacency. Acknowledge that you've come to a better place from where you were. That is celebration. But don't let what you've achieved make you feel like you're on top of the world. Now you have it all, you've achieved it all, you know it all, then you stop learning. And that is where the learning comes in. That is where the growth mindset people will always overtake those with their fixed mindset. Because I think it's Cristiano Ronaldo, the famous footballer, he said something. He said that his conviction is that learning is continuous and there is no limit to it, not even age. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact quote, but that's something like that. And so when you get to that point where you realize that even though you've come this far, you are grateful for it, you acknowledge that you are in a better place, but you also acknowledge the fact that you need to continuously learn and adapt to the new things that are coming up, then it will take you to better places. The challenges will always come, and challenges can either discourage you. In fact, they will always discourage you at some point, but always reflecting and being gratitude for how far you've come and realizing that you need to learn more will always get you out of those challenges. Challenges are stepping stones to growth. Challenges or problems are stepping stones to growth, but they only push you higher if you are able to find out what you are lacking. Because anytime you meet a challenge, it means that there's something that you don't have to go through that situation. That's why it's a challenge. So when you're able to figure out what it is that you are lacking, and then you apply it and it works and you go above that challenge, you've grown, you've become a better person, you've learned something new, and that takes you to a higher pedestal, and now you're at a better place. So that's what I would like to share on this. Thank you.
Beautiful. That's so powerful right there. Challenges are stepping stones. They're stepping stones. It's only a challenge because you have to grow. And so I really hope you guys are taking notes. And I love what you said. You see, gratitude is a strategy. It's a strategy. All right. So, Mokhtar, my question for you is, what practical habit can anyone adopt to cultivate a resilient, forward-focused mindset, especially during uncertainty?
All right. Thank you so much. So, reliance is not a challenge. It is a daily practice, right? A series of habits that strengthen your mindset that the way exercise strengthens our body. Daily reflection, as like every night, if you ask yourself, what did today I teach me? What did today teach me? You don't need a long journal. Just write one sentence in your notebook and you'll get the answer. So self reflection builds awareness, emotional intelligence, and clarity. When you understand your day, you understand yourself by the reviewing your daily perspective. Instead of huge goals, set small goals in ones. Read first day 2 pages, walk 10 minutes, learn one new concept, and practice speaking for 5 minutes. Small wins compound into transformation. Progress doesn't need to be big, it only needs to be consistent, right? When I was in university life, when I need to do more work in a day, I just applied that theory that I need to divide this work in a small quarter time in 1 hour. After that, I did take rest and then again start the work. So this small step after the day makes me the good work or good workload to cover it. So learn one small skill each month. As like who want to be a public speaker, you can practice your speaking in a day for 1 minute. After that 5 minutes, then so learn one skills each month. As like you can practice your communication skill, your computer skill, public speaking skill, problem solving, design basics, negotiation. What skill you need to learn for your career growth, for your better life, you can practice, right? Individually, these skills look small, but together they make you the extraordinary from the others people beside you. You become adaptable, you become valuable, and you can become the future ready. After that, your environment shapes your mindset. Your surrounding people can give you your better output. Surround yourself with people who think bigger, encourage growth, silence your comfort zone, and support your dreams. These are the real people who really wanted to help you. So you rise higher when you work with people who believe you in the heights. After that, when something difficult happens, don't say, why this is happening to me? Instead, say, what is this preparing for me? This shift turns pain into purpose, it turns confusion into clarity, it turns obstacle into the opportunities. So, reliance is not the ability to avoid challenge. Reliance is the ability to grow through the silence. With these habits anymore, from Dhaka to Newark can build a mindset that unstable, unshakable, and future focused. So, ladies and gentlemen who are joining our this session, we are living in the time when the world need not perfect leaders but brave learners. If we can build mindset that welcome growth, culture that celebrate learning, and communities that accept the failure, individuals who rise despite fear, then we are building not just successful careers, we are building a stronger, more compassionate world. So thank you. It is a privilege to present my speech from Bangladesh on the global stage, and let us continue learning, growing, and lifting each other to higher from the present stage. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mokhtar and Dr. Josiah, I just really want to thank you guys. You guys had so many gems to share, and I'm sure that they have been able to take so many notes from what you shared here today. So I really want to thank you. I want to honor you for, sharing with us about growth mindset and fixed mindset and helping us to get what we need so that we can get to the place where we need to be. So thank you guys so much, so much. Thank you so much. And to Dr. Amaka, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of the Ascension. Thank you so much for thinking of me, and it has been a pleasure to serve. I now yield my mic over to you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. That was such a powerful session. And again, I'm grateful that these sessions are recorded. That's like, you can't take it all in at once. You have to go back and listen again and absorb again. I saw somebody in the chat said they're trying to get a quote that you put in. They said, you said failure is a strategy. Who can help me complete this? You can see that the people are really engaged. They want to get it all. Like, what did you say? We want to make sure that we are writing it. Who can help me? So who said this? Could you help Chinecherem tell her the complete thing, like the complete sentence? That would be really, really, I'm also interested to hear what it is. I don't know if it was Mukhtar or if it was Josiah that made this quote.
I think it was Mukhtar when he was talking about failure. Yeah, it was Mukhtar.
Okay, so Mukhtar, can you give us the complete sentence? You say failure is a strategy. What is the rest of the sentence? We want to hear it. Oh, it looks like your network is suddenly stuck. Yeah, hopefully we'll get that from Mukhtar and I'll pass it on to you, Mukhtar's network. It's such a beautiful thing that the network brought him to the end of the session and now he's stuck. So it's a beautiful thing. I see this as the hand of God. Thank you so much, Kimisha, for answering when I called on you. Thank you, MD, for showing up all the way from Bangladesh. Thank you, Dr. Josiah. Dr. Josiah is one of our board members. He is always there. Dr. Josiah is one of those people I go to and say, hey, can you come help with this? Do you want to be a part of this? And he always makes time. Even for graduation, Dr. Josiah will make time and come to graduation to share for a couple of minutes. So I don't take your time for granted. Thank you all for this wonderful session. We are just like 1 minute behind time, which is really good. I think we're doing beautifully, beautifully on time today. I'm going to give you one more round of applause before I usher in the next panel. Okay, thank you all so much. All right, now we are switching gears. We are really, really switching gears. And we are going to hear from the health people, the doctors. Let's hear about health and health systems, breaking barriers in public health, communication, and system leadership. This panel will be led and moderated by no other than my dearest Dr. Sumeya, who is also a wonderful member of the advisory board of ScholarUP. I feel like we are blessed. Like we have people from different walks of life, so when I have questions about health, I know people to go and ask. Dr. Sumeya is a medical doctor, a public health communication strategist, and a graduate student. So she's getting her PhD here in the US. And she's all about advancing health equity through strategy messaging. With a strong background in clinical practice and community engagement, she bridges the gap between medical science and public understanding. So that's a lot of background. Dr. Sumeya, you're welcome to the stage. And I'm going to bring up the panelists to you. And Dr. Josiah is coming back to this panel, which is wonderful. So he will continue the conversation. We have Verena all the way from Germany. And last but not the least, we have Dr. Ellen. I don't see Dr. Ellen anymore. She was here all the same. Dr. Ellen, if you come back, I'll be looking at the back of the stage. Once I see you, I'll bring you up, but I don't see you now. Maybe it's the network. So maybe you need to go out and come back again. All right, over to you, Dr. Sumeya.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amaka. So I'm really excited. So I know the title, our title is quite long, which is Health and Healthcare Systems, Breaking Barriers in Public Health Communication and Systems Leadership. It is such a long title, but don't worry. So I promise the conversation will be lively and definitely shorter than this title. So today, as Dr. Amaka has mentioned, we have an incredible panel, doctors from Ghana, from the UK, and our delectable nurse from Germany. So if health leadership actually had like a global Avengers team, I think you'll be looking at the three of them. So it's my honor to actually introduce them again. I'll start with Dr. Josiah, who was introduced beautifully in the earlier session, but then still go ahead and give an abridged version. He's a doctor, he's an author, and he's someone who has been uplifting young minds for over 10 years. He founded Young Minds Hub and is passionate about preventive health, health literacy, and changing how communities understand health. So give a round of applause or some love emojis for Dr. Josiah. So next is my dearest Verena Achik Muyu, who is she's Cameroonian but from Germany. She is a 20-year multi-continental nurse leader. She is a global health scholar, popularly known as the health evangelist. She believes in compassion, professionalism, and systems that actually work for people. She has practiced nursing across continents. Why I said she's multi-continental. So she has seen everything times 10 of the normal people. So welcome. We're glad to have you, Verena. And Dr. Ellen is not here, but I'll still go ahead and introduce her so that she joins us along the line. So Dr. Ellen is an emergency medicine doctor in the UK. She also somehow finds time to also advocate for women's health and adolescent health. She basically saves life in the ER and outside it and has found a way to blend science with storytelling to help women own their health. So these are a great lineup of people. And without further ado, I think we'll go ahead. I would start with Dr. Josiah. So, Dr. Josiah, you've worked directly with rural and underserved communities for years in your philanthropic work, right? So, what have you learned about building trust and communicating health effectively at the community level?
All right. Thank you. And I'm really privileged to be a part of this session. So, when it comes to communities or communicating health in communities in social rural areas, and generally, I think what we need to understand is health-seeking behavior is affected by a number of factors. So you have socioeconomic factors, you have religious factors, you have, family issues. So it's a multifactorial system, and all these things come together to impact how people even see health and how they approach it. So in communicating health in communities, we need to understand that people already have their own belief systems that have been built over the years. It's not something that they build over the night. From childhood, their minds have been programmed per their culture and their religion to believe in certain ways of doing things. And that has been done over the years. So at that point, you are meeting them, they already have a belief system that is so well consolidated that just like any of us, it's like any staunch Christian, if somebody comes and says something that's against the Christian belief, your first position is defense, right? You want to defend your faith. If you are a Muslim and somebody comes to say something about negative about the Muslim belief, your first stance is to defend. So it's similar here. When we approach people in communities to discuss health issues, we need to understand that they already have their own mind programming and belief systems. So we should approach such conversations not from a position of authority where we are giving instructions. You just don't go into the committee and start saying things like what you believe is wrong, this is the right thing for you to do, and then you addition out instructions and thinking that they should just dump whatever they've believed and held for years and start following what you are saying. You should approach the community in a dialogue manner, in a conversational manner. So it's more like getting down to their level, sit with them, and try to understand why they do what they do and why they believe what they believe. And instead of dishing out instructions, you put your information out as suggestions, offering other ways of seeing it to them, letting them see the advantages and disadvantages. By the end of the day, you are trying to win their minds to your side, not command them to obey what you are saying. So that for me, that's one thing I have learned. And I, together with my wife, we actually founded a foundation called Health Plus Foundation, which is into community health engagement. So we do community health outreaches, and we do seminars, and we do emergency training for senior high school students. And this is one thing that I've learned, working among all these communities. Thank you.
Beautiful, Dr. Josiah. I think I hear loudly when you say health skin is multifactorial. It's also multi-collaborative, right? You've spoken about respect, meeting people where they are at, and most importantly for me is when you mention cultural humility. So you have to be humble when you meet people and meet them where they are. Okay, that leads me to my next question. So, preventive care, because that's where what we're talking about: health prevention, health literacy. So we see that preventive care is like a gym membership of public health, right? Everyone knows that it's important, but then are we motivated? Mostly, no, most times. So you just explained, I think, in the previous session, mindset. So in the health session, in this health session, how can leaders reshape mindsets toward prevention rather than cure? We've always heard prevention better than cure right from when we're kids. So how can leaders reshape mindsets to think in that line?
So I think there's an echo somewhere. Okay. So when it comes to shaping the mindsets of people towards preventive medicine, I think on the background of what I've already shared about approaching it from a dialogue base, I think we also need to adapt health policies and protocols to the people that we want to impact. For instance, you go to a community, I think one of the communities where you have a lot of anemia issues is among the Fulani communities. So if you go to a Fulani community and you're talking about how to get their blood level up in terms of the HB and then dealing with their chronic anemia, and then you go talking about taking red meat in a community where it is a luxury, it's an annual luxury to eat meat. You have or have meat in your dish, and you go talking about eating red meat because there is chronic anemia or widespread anemia within the community. It's not going to work. So the first thing is that we need to adapt health policies, or we need to adapt our education and sensitization to the level of the community in which we are entering. And then we need to also preach the philosophy that little drops of water can make a pool, in the sense that sometimes when we talk about health-seeking behavior, or talk about adopting healthy behaviors, which links to preventive medicine, we talk about it in a way that sometimes people just see it as impossible. But if we can let people understand that it is just the daily little things that you do, taking a walk for 30 minutes a day, eating a little bit healthier a day today, all those ones in the long term come together cumulatively to affect your health. So we need to approach it in that dimension. First, adapt it to their level. Then let them understand that it is just the little things we do every day which come together in the long term to impact our overall health. I think if we can do that and sensitize people and educate people at their own level in this manner, then we'll be able to transform their mindsets towards preventive medicine.
Thank you so much, Dr. Josiah. Welcome. Glad to see that you have joined Dr. Ellen. So I will ask you this first question. And I know you always talk about also mindsets and health literacy, right? So how does this holistic approach change how people take ownership of their health? So especially for women and young people, who most times they're actually told what to do, how to do it, and then they're not told why they're doing such things. So how does holistic approach change their mindset?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sumaya, and thank you for having me as well. So talking about the holistic approach to health, especially regarding when it as it relates to women and adolescents, adolescent girls, I think this concept has to put in mind what the concept of health as defined by the World Health Organization is. it is not just the absence of disease that defines what good health is, but taking into account both the physical, the social, the economical, the environmental aspects of humans' well-being. And there are a lot of ways that we can go about this to ensure that our health is in a functional state, especially for women and children. People need to come to terms with the fact that women are, will I call it, marginalized, especially in low socioeconomic status countries where they don't have a say. For instance, a lot of women and girls don't have the financial capability to cater for their medical expenses. So it is up to the government to be able to encourage these women to give them some financial backing or some independence financially, so that they're able to make informed decisions. They're able to pay their bills and take their health into their own hand. The environmental factor is also very, very important, because if the environment doesn't allow women to express themselves, and remember that cultural environment is also part of the micro environment, that not just the physical environment as in terms of structures, but the micro environments, the culture. What are the kind of culture that these women and girls find themselves in? It has a very strong link, or it has a very strong way of affecting women's health. A lot of cultures, especially from low socioeconomic status countries, there is this problem where women need to take permission from either their spouses or even from the alpha male in the family before they are able to seek medical advice. In that case, things like contraceptive, you will bear me witness that women are not able to give informed consent to have contraception, except their husbands really come into play or even sign it for them. Even cesarean section is as bad as women, who have every single indication for cesarean section are not allowed to sign, except their husbands give them the permission. And a lot of women have died in that kind of manner. So I would say that for women, children, and adolescents to be able to take their health into a whole new level, their environment really, really has to matter. Their socioeconomic status has to improve for them to see any reasonable change in terms of their utilization of health facilities. We also have things like their mental health. Some women cannot just make, they've been brought down psychologically to a level where they cannot even think for themselves. They don't have the mental capability of taking care of themselves in terms of making informed decision. I would also think that needs to address, and putting all this together for us to have a holistic health, for us to address the human's health holistically, we need to put policies that will take care of all these components of health, not just being sick and going to the hospital, but what are even the things that a woman or a child or someone can do to even prevent the person from getting infection or diseases in the first instance. So yes, when dealing with people when dealing with the health of humans or of people, we really need to dive more into other components of health that will generally affect what the outcome of our healthy living is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. And just to echo that, you have mentioned how health is holistic. It's not just the absence of disease. And I love how you have brought light on women empowerment, especially for women and young girls, because it gives them that agency to take charge of their health. So thank you. I think to wrap up this particular discussion on health prevention, I'll ask Dr. Josiah one last question on what is the single most important message that public health systems must communicate to build healthier, more informed societies? So no pressure. I'm just wanting you to summarize the entire future of global health in one sentence. No pressure at all. You are muted. You need to unmute your mic.
Yes. So I'll just the statement I'll make is this: healthy living is dynamic and is possible for everyone, wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, whatever you are doing. It's possible for you. Thank you.
So thank you so much. So we have heard about trust, we've heard about prevention, empowerment. So if this panel was actually a relationship coach, I'm sure they'll be winning by now because so now let's delve into one of our biggest problems in health and generally not just health, communication and misinformation with a lot of health TikTok trends, Instagram trends, and other trends. So let me start with the health evangelists, Verena. So Verena, you have practiced nursing across continents. What common communication gaps have you observed between health systems, patients, and even healthcare professionals? Feel free to call out the system. I think this is a safe space.
Thank you very much, Dr. Soumaya. Good day, my co-panelists, Dr. Ellen and Dr. Josiah. Our distinguished viewers, good day. So thank you very much for this question. It's a very crucial question, and I think it's one for us to address at this moment, which we are doing right now. So before we want to talk about communication, we have to know that in every relationship, communication is very important. And where that is breached, then there is a problem, there's friction. So health systems need to understand patients need to understand health systems need to understand professionals, and vice versa. So before we want to go into that, I also want to say that the health systems we are talking about here are structures and policies that are being put in place to govern people from like regional level or national level or even at international level. So those are health systems. So to me, moving across different countries, like from Cameroon to the US and Germany, one of the main things, there are many things, but I'm just going to pick on one. One of the main things I identified is health illiteracy. That's a gap in communication. So but before we want to talk about health illiteracy, we need to know what health literacy is. So health literacy is the ability for somebody to be able to access health information, use that health information to make informed decisions about their health or the health of their family members or the health of a community. So health illiteracy is the direct opposite. And health illiteracy is affected by many different things. Before we want to talk about health illiteracy, people need to understand, or people need to have basic education to be able to understand artificial technological advancement. So you go to a community or you find systems where people cannot have the resources that they need to make these informed choices. For example, you find somebody who wants to make a decision on health, but there's no information about how they go about it, maybe for cardiovascular disease, maybe for diabetes. Are the resources available? Is the information made available for everyone? Can people understand that, this particular information, so that they can use it to make health better information about themselves, or better information or decision about their health? Can people actually access this information? It is the same across, whether it's in the US or it's in Cameroon or it's in Germany. You have this gap of health illiteracy, and our health systems need to bridge this gap by helping people access these health materials. People should be able to have that information. People should be able to access that information. In Cameroon, for example, you find people, they don't even know about their health. They go to the hospital. Even here in Germany, somebody comes to the hospital 3 days after surgery. They're asking the nurse what was done to them. The communication wasn't there. So they don't even know. The doctor did not maybe give them that information, maybe in a way that they can understand. We also know that health illiteracy can be affected because globalization, people moving from one place to another. Language barrier is a problem. You can understand something in your language. You move to Germany and they say something you will not be able to understand. So we should have tools that are able to help people understand this. We have AI. We have different tools that we can use to help people translate in the language that they can understand so that they can make better choices. So health illiteracy to me is the main gap in communication between patients and health system. Now I take you to the communication gap between health systems and health professionals. We have a lot of work now on our hands. Every day we go to work, you have tools that you need to study. You need to study them, to use them to care for patients. They're becoming too much, they're becoming burdensome, and people do not want to do them anymore. Sometimes you don't even have the knowledge needed to understand that. How many hours do we have at work for you to be learning all these tools? So they need to give us time. They need to make these tools understandable. They need to involve the healthcare workers in the development of some of these tools, because some of these tools come and you feel like they're obsolete. You don't find any need using them. So the bridge between the communication between health systems and health professionals is that they do not involve the health professionals in the development of some of these tools. And also health professionals, I must be very frank with you, also rebel to some of these tools. Sometimes they'll bring you to work and be like, I won't attend that class, particularly the older nurses or maybe the older healthcare workers. They don't have any interest in learning computer. So my main thing is, before people want to understand technological advancement, they should be able to understand basic knowledge. You cannot talk about artificial intelligence where we do not have natural intelligence. So we need to have that basic education to understand artificial intelligence. We are moving into a world of digitalization. It has come to stay. People need to understand what telemedicine is all about. How many people can write in an app to say, this is what is wrong with me? How many people can understand what it means for them to understand all this information about health? Put in the language they can understand. Make little skits, make little videos that they can better understand how they can use it to make health decisions about their health. Thank you.
Thank you, Verena. So we are hearing you loud and clear. So health literacy is also health equity. So it is a health equity issue, because the ability to make good health decisions depends on the quality of information you're giving and actually the way it's delivered, right? If someone can't read a prescription label or doesn't understand what a diagnosis means or has never been taught how the healthcare system works, that's not a personal failure. That's actually a systemic failure, right? So, and then why are we actually not communicating in ways people can understand? Those are questions for healthcare workers. And equitable health literacy, we have to talk in simple, clear language. We have to respect cultural context, and most importantly, meet people where they are at. This is something I'm very passionate about. So let me shift so that I don't keep talking on and on. So Ellen, over to you. So misinformation is everywhere, from our parents sending us broadcast messages on WhatsApp and a lot of trends. So how can communication become a life-saving tool in public health?
Thank you very much, Dr. Sumaya, for this question. How communication can be a life-saving tool. With the advancement in technology and the social media speed, it's very easy for rumors to fester. It's very easy for rumors to spread, and those rumors are part of the infodemics that we saw during the COVID-19 pandemic, where someone just sit down in his room and just think of something, generate it and send it offline, and before you know, it's spread like wildfire. But let's ask ourselves, why do these rumors spread? These rumors spread because we do not have the right information before the rumors comes out. If we're able to sensitize our people, if people are sensitized, if people are educated, if there was some level of preparedness, for epidemics or pandemics or any form of disease that has the ability to spread, all of us will bear witness that by the time rumors comes out, it will be very easy to debunk it because most of the people have been educated enough. So there is a lot that needs to be done. And the way to go about this is using the same agents that we spread the misinformation with. So it's leveraging on the social media as well. So we as health workers, we really need to make use of this social media. put out the information, make researches, publish the researches, educate individual in whatsoever language or form that meets the people at the grassroots. So for some people, who are online, it may just be a normal WhatsApp message in group that you can use to sensitize them. For some who are in rural areas, we need a little bit of more work. We need to use the people at that grassroots, the religious leaders, the community leaders, really needs to be involved in disseminating appropriate or real-time information. So it helps people. So because people who are misinformed, they won't, the health outcome will normally be poor. I remember during COVID-19, a lot of myths came up, a lot of information or misinformation about the fact that this virus, during the vaccine, the vaccine rollout came with a lot of hitch because people believe that the vaccine will either make you have complications, is a way of wiping off generations, or it will make women redundant in terms of their reproductive ability to give birth. And it became a problem. There was a lot of skepticism with vaccine uptake. There was, people just refused to take those vaccines. So, but with right information, kudos to WHO who found credible ways of coming up to debunk all this information and making use of the social media, the same media that people utilize to spread misinformation. So communication is very key to maintaining a healthy living. For people to be able to take take advantage, of the information out there, it has to be put in a form that they understand. Yes. Honest information, credible information, timely information, and the information put out by people who the general populace trust. There is no need of calling someone whom people do not believe in to come and disseminate information or about an intervention. They're not going to take it. So we really have to make use of communication, because good communication will help to prevent a lot of diseases spread and hesitancy in uptake of medical or health interventions.
Thank you so much. So misinformation spreads very fast because it spreads in familiar ways. It comes from people we trust. So it comes in, and it also comes in simple languages wrapped with a lot of emotion. So if public health actually wants to compete with that, our communication has to also do the same, but then we're coming with the truth, with scientific facts, right? And it's also posed as a challenge to health care providers that we should stop talking at people and start talking with them and together with them. So we are going to use simple, clear languages that respect people instead of confusing them. We're going to also try to meet communities on platforms that they actually use, not the platforms that we prefer. So Dr. Ellen, you're also a storyteller. Mm-hmm. So how do you balance emotional storytelling with scientific credibility when educating the public? Because when you use too much emotion, people tend to cry. And when you use too much science, people will just sleep and leave you with your information.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sumoya. I think that if we leverage on storytelling, to disseminate information in the hands of good storyteller who has made his or her own researches, we are going to win the war. What does that mean? Storytelling is a bit of emotion, and it's also it's real fact laced with emotion. It's just like having cake on the icing. So the cake is the facts, and the icing, is the emotions that comes with the act of storytelling. So you cannot separate the two for people to understand. So what it means is that in storytelling, you take a data and you give the data a human touch. You give the data a human feeling. And with that, people are able to relate with the story or with the information that you are trying to pass. So I can categorically say that storytelling is a very strong tool, in trying to disseminate information. do not use too much emotions. You cannot just sit down and say, I feel like this is, I feel like, using your own emotion without any rational, backing, without any scientific data to project anything. Whatsoever a storyteller is going to say, it has to be evidence-based. So in that, as in, bearing that in mind, it takes off the bias of misinformation, because if you give story based on your own emotion, you're going to be giving misinformation. If you're going to give story, like, if the information you are trying to pass across doesn't have any evidence that someone has done research and these are the figures and these are the numbers, what you are absolutely doing is that you are just trying to misinform people. Also, in storytelling, you have to make complex things look very simple. With that, you are able to capture the attention of people. You are able to share the information. They are able to relate with whatsoever you are trying to tell them. And also allow communities to tell their stories. If there is a way you can allow people who understand where it hurts to tell the stories, it is easy for the larger community to believe in those people, because it is a thing of felt need against perceived need. I remember an example of when they said something about a community that had no water supply, and a particular NGO came and did a borehole for them right in the middle of the community. And these people refused to use that borehole because they all have single rooms, right? Husband and wife and children all sleep in the same room. So the only time the mother and father have some time for themselves is when these children have gone out into the community, down into the river to go and get some water. That's when the husband and wife have time for themselves. Now, bringing a borehole into the community have taken away something very significant from the parents, so they will not comply. It's the same thing with storytelling. You cannot come with cultures that these people are not accustomed with to be able to, you can't pass any information across. While storytelling is a strong tool to push out information and it can really lead to behavioral change without any missing any word, because it has been proven already. It has to be culturally acceptable. The people have to connect with it. So it is not about our emotions. It's about using a human touch to disseminate data.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ellen. Beautifully said. So in as short as 30 seconds to a minute, I would go through all the panelists, and I would want to ask you to send one short message to every health leader in the world, like a short WhatsApp broadcast message. What will it be? Starting with Dr. Josiah. What would your message be? You are muted.
So my message would be that health is not a one-size-fits-all.
Over to you, Dr. Ellen.
Yeah, I would say that we need to develop trust in the people that we're taking care of.
Okay, over to you, Verena.
I'm just going to ask them one simple question. If health is free, or if health should be free, why does everybody not have it?
Oh, that's powerful. So this session just shows us that health systems work best when humans feel seen, heard, and respected. And we've talked about trust, prevention, communication, misinformation, compassion, nursing, leadership, storytelling. So basically everything that makes health systems human. So with that, so that we keep the time, I want to thank immensely our wonderful panelists, Doctors Ellen, Josiah, and Verena. Thank you for a wonderful time. And to our audience, thank you for also being here. It shows that you're actually committed to global health, or at least you're committed to spending your time with us, maybe because you like the panelists. So on behalf of ScholarUP, I want you to enjoy the rest of your conference and keep leading with courage. So I would want to hand over to the amiable Dr. Vicky.
Let me clap for you guys. That was so amazing. Thank you, Dr. Sumeya, Dr. Josiah. Looks like we're running a clinic. So it's all the doctors. If you have any problem, please reach out to them. I hope you're connected to all of these wonderful people on LinkedIn. They are all amazing members of the advisory board of ScholarUP. Just pushing the work forward and just believing for them to leave whatever they have to do on a Saturday to be here. It means a lot to us that you have stayed committed and you are willing to share your knowledge freely. Thank you so much. Now we are going to move to the last keynote of this session as we usher our amazing panel out of the stage. All right, before I bring up Coach Vicky to the stage, let me just make a quick comment. We are going to be changing live streams immediately after this 20 minutes keynote, and that's because LinkedIn allows you to stream for 4 hours, and our conference is 8 hours. So we're doing amazing well on time. This has been so beautiful. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Thank you for keeping the chat busy. And with that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Vicky Otaruyina. Wow, such a beautiful name. The elevation coach. She is an award-winning purpose coach and 9-time author, empowering faith-driven leaders and entrepreneurs to fulfill their God-given calling. As the founder of Divine Purpose Publishing and Divine Purpose Marketing, and a market expansion consultant at Ruyuna Global, she champions purpose, impact, and cross-continental growth. You can see that all the way from Barbados. I'm giving up to Dr. Vicky. Thank you so much for being here. Over to you.
You're welcome, and thank you so much, Dr. Amaka. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure to be here, always a pleasure to share a stage with you. So welcome. If you're joining for the first time, welcome. And for those that have been here from the beginning, it has been just an amazing time. When it first started, I messaged Dr. Amaka and I said to her, something just leaped in my belly. I was so excited. This is something that we definitely need. So there's a little video, a little small video that I want to come up. Dr. Amaka, if you can just put it on the screen. But once again, thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. And as you heard, I'm Dr. Vicky Otaruyina, known as the Elevation Coach, and it is a pleasure to be joining from the beautiful island of Barbados. This is indeed a gathering where we are shattering boundaries and brilliance is being awakened. It is indeed a pleasure. So if you look at this, I just want you to look at this video for a little bit before I jump right in. And just take a little minute. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to just look at it. And imagine my topic today is purpose, voice, impact, finding your unique purpose. So purpose, voice, and impact. But I want you to look at it. Think about purpose and look at that. And I want you to put in the chat what comes to your mind. If you think about purpose and you look at this drop, what comes to your mind? So I'm going to give you 30 seconds before I jump right in to my presentation or to my talk. Okay, so I want to begin today with a story about a simple experiment off the coast of Okinawa, Japan. One that forever has transformed the way that I understand purpose, voice, and impact. A marine researcher dropped a tiny pebble into a calm set of water. No splash, no wave, just a quiet drop. On the surface, the ripples expand gently, subtle but visible. But beneath the surface, sensors detected vibrations at the ocean floor, and small fish changed direction. Crabs shifted. Plankton, which is the under earth, the undersea organisms, they drifted differently, and even seaweed responded. And the researcher concluded with the stunning insight: every drop changes both what is visible and what is invisible. And remember, we're talking about purpose, voice, and impact. So what does this reveal? As you see this, as you look at this drop on the screen, what does this reveal? Every time you step into purpose, you release a drop. The visible world may see a ripple, but the invisible world feels a vibration. So one action can shift environments you didn't even think about touching, or you didn't even know that you would touch. So as I talk today, as I share with you today, I want you to understand that your drop is your purpose. The ripple is your voice. And the vibration that happens underneath is the impact that the world is about to feel. So you may say, I'm just here in my corner in Nigeria, I'm just here in my corner in the Caribbean. I'm not called to make this big impact. But anytime we talk about purpose, purpose is not meant to be silent. It is not meant to be hidden. It is not meant to remain local. It is actually global. Purpose, voice, impact, they're just global by design. Whether we want to accept it, whether we know we are created for it, just because that one person that you're going to impact today may very well impact someone at the North Pole, may very well impact someone down under in Australia, and your one purpose is impacting the world. So purpose, voice, and impact are global by design because they were placed in you by a global God for a global assignment. So today we explore how to discover your unique purpose, activate your unique voice, and step boldly into global impact. And how will we do this? We will do this by 3 simple movements, all inspired by the water. Number 1, we're going to talk about uncovering purpose, understanding the water you carry. Number 2, activating your voice, which is releasing the sound of your purpose. And 3, impact and influence, the creation of the ripples that will reach nations. So let's dive right in. Point number 1, uncovering purpose, understanding the water that you carry. Purpose, of course, as we all know, if we look at the definition of the word purpose, is the reason for your existence. But just like water stored in a reservoir, your purpose can remain hidden or unseen unless intentionally released. But water was created to flow. And in the same way, your purpose was created to move. It was created to refill. It was created to nourish, created to transform, created to shift lives and make a difference. And to uncover your purpose, I want you to reflect deeply on your personal, and if you're writing, write these down, your personal 6 W's and H. That's the letter H. Your personal 6 W's and H, which are called the dimensions of the water you carry, or the dimensions of your purpose. So let's start with the first W. It's why. Why do you exist? What is the reason for your existence? And these are questions that you have to answer in order to uncover your uniqueness. The second question is who? Who is connected to your purpose? Who are the people that are meant to serve and who are the people you are meant to serve or inspire? The third W is, what do you carry that they need? And that is, what skills, knowledge, gifts do you possess that can benefit others? Number 4, this is where. Where is your voice required? Which communities, what industries, which regions are waiting for what you offer? And you're here today. We're from so many different countries and continents. What continent, what country is waiting for what you offer? And as I'm listening today, I'm just seeing how a lot of these speakers can influence change right here in the Caribbean. So they may not know, but their voice is being weighted upon right here in the Caribbean. And the fifth W is why, another why. Why were you entrusted with this assignment? So what mission or problem were you born to solve? And the sixth W is when must you stop? When must you step forward? Is there an urgency or specific season for your impact? The time might be now. And here's the 1H. How? How should you show up? In what manner or through what method, through what means, through what platforms will you deliver your purpose? We talked a lot about social media earlier. So this is the how of how you will deliver and how you will show up with the great purpose that is inside of you. So purpose becomes clearer when you realize this. You are meant for movement. And once you understand the water that you carry, once you understand the substance that you, the gift, the calling, the message, the next step is discovering that unique voice that carries the water into the world. So your voice is the expression of your purpose. It is the frequency, the tone, and the message that carries your assignment into the world. And sometimes your voice may not always be what you speak, but it is what the type of content that you put out there, the written content, the spoken content, even the expressions of your body. You may be a dancer, but it's the frequency, the tone, the message that you carry and your assignment into the world. So water gives life. You are called to give life, but only when it flows. And it means that only when it goes, life will come. In the same way, purpose transforms lives, but only when your voice is released. Your voice shapes identity. It shapes your influence. It shapes your reach. And the greatest challenge is not finding the opportunity, but it's finding the courage and the clarity to speak with authenticity. So ask yourself these 4 questions, and I want you to write them down. What does my purpose sound like? And I'm not talking about the sound of your voice, but what does my purpose sound like? Where does my voice need to be heard? What message has God entrusted to me that only my voice can release? And the last one is, how can my voice travel further across industries, across cultures, and across continents? Today, your voice has instant global reach. It is a message on social media that can travel across time zones. A single video that can influence someone in Ghana, Barbados, London, New York in the same very hour. A podcast episode can reach hearts in places your feet may never, ever walk. So your voice is the vehicle. The purpose is the cargo, and the impact is the destination. And we're going to talk about impact a little later, but let me share a quick example with you from my own journey. And I want you to be inspired by this, because this is for everyone who is ready and who's obedient. So I once wrote this article about creating systems to bridge Africa and the Caribbean, because I'm called to create bridges between the African continent and the Western world, specifically the Caribbean region, for business, for ministry, and a lot of other things. So I had no idea who would read this article. It was written in a French newspaper. So it was written in French, and it simply released, and it was me simply releasing the drop of purpose into the world. And this is what happened. That article found its way to a woman right here in the Caribbean, but the French-speaking Caribbean. She has an interest in connecting Caribbean and also Africa as well. But she works as a tourism consultant now. But for many years, she worked in New York for her tourism organization as the lead person in that tourism organization in New York. So when she stumbled upon my piece, it really resonated with her. And immediately it did something for her. And she searched for my name on Google. Now, I've never been to Martinique, although it's in the Caribbean. I don't think I'll ever go there. I don't know. But I don't have any plans for Martinique. But here I am in Barbados, writing an article in a Cote d'Ivoire newspaper or online newspaper. Somebody from the Caribbean sees, so I drop my pebble or my drop into the water, and the ripple effect takes that article out to Martinique. And long story short, after she searched for that article, she found me on LinkedIn. So here it was with an optimized LinkedIn page, thanks to Dr. Amaka and some others, but thanks to Dr. Amaka and how she really paid attention to us in the challenge, in the program that we do. Long story short, this woman wrote to me and she said to me, I've done this, I've been this, I've worked here, I've done this, but I feel like there's so much going on in my life and I need clarity of purpose. So she eventually came to Barbados. She flew to Barbados for a weekend to be coached one-on-one by me. And the outcome is more impactful than it was more impactful than I could ever imagine. One act of strategic positioning, publishing that article, allowed my purpose to flow across the oceans, connecting Africa, the Caribbean, North America in the process. And that's what happens when you direct the flow of your purpose, or when you drop that flow, when you drop that purpose into the water, it goes beyond local limits. That's the power of your voice. One message traveled, one soul was touched, one destiny shifted, because from that session, she was able then to host a major event because of all the motivation, the inspiration, she hosted a major event in her country, and she pulled together some tourism professionals. One bridge was built. Your voice is not small. And I'm transitioning now because even the strongest current means nothing until you take the step that matters the most. And that brings me to my final movement, or our final movement, which is point 3. Impact and influence, creating ripples that reach nations. And this is the most transformative part of your journey, because it's one thing to uncover your purpose and another to design a strategy. But until you act, just like how I acted, until you act, nothing moves. So execution is the moment that the pebble is released into the water or the drop hits the water. It is the moment the ripple truly begins. Purpose without action is like water behind a dam, full of potential energy, full of potential, but unable to impact anything. So when you act, when you finally release the drop, you awaken a movement. Suddenly, the potential locked inside of your purpose surges outward, and you are not even able to see all the impact that you're making. But as you take action, watch what gets set into motion. So movement in people's hearts is what happens. Your step out of purpose can inspire and stir something within others. It creates momentum in your assignment when you release that drop. Once you start moving, your purpose gains momentum and doors open. Multiplication of your influence happens. Your single drop can multiply into many through those who carry your message forward. And manifestation of that global impact happens when the ripple takes place. Tangible change begins to appear in communities and places far beyond your immediate reach. So I'm going to conclude now. Your purpose is water, meant to flow. Your voice is the sound, meant to be heard. Your impact is the ripple, meant to reach nations. To walk in global relevance, you must discover that water, release that sound, and take courageous action. Purpose is always global when you can choose to release your drop. So as I close, let us rise, let us speak, and let us impact. Thank you so much as we prepare for the next stream, and the link is in the chat. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Amaka at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that uplifting message, Dr. Vicky. I need to give you this is like a very good place to end the first session of this conference, because we are not going to let the technology stop us. LinkedIn lets us stream for 4 hours. So that's why we are breaking the event into 2. So of course, if you're listening in the chat, you can easily search for my name. On LinkedIn, you can find the stream. On Facebook, the link is also in the chat. We're emailing that to you. We're making sure that you have the information. We're going to be rolling over. Thank you so much, Dr. Vicky. Thank you for keeping the time. Thank you for your impactful conversation. All right, on that note, I'm going to be ending this live stream now. This is the Ascension Day 1, Part A. We have reached the end of the Ascension, and I'm going to just share this again. What does the Ascension mean to you personally? People said growth, people said innovation, people said audacity. What about you? Tell me that when we get to the new chat. Let me end now. See you all in the next chat.